to take advantage of that. But let's deal with the financing before we get into technology. The pledge is over 200 million US dollars. Very often, big statements. Will the commitment follow?
So the first 75 million is likely to be operationalized by end of December. But I'll say one thing, what we are really trying, that the world has been talking that concessional finance should now be used for leveraging private investment. There has been a discussion that leverage should be much more than 1:3, 1:4. We are targeting about 1:10, 1:20. So even though the amounts are not like very huge, but if the demonstration with the first 75 million that will be operational by December can lead to 20 times of that money, that impetus will be a way for showing how concessional finance should be used from now on.
Are you mindful of the prevailing challenges that Africa is grappling with in terms of economy and how many African economies are now dealing with a sovereign debt crisis? Ghana, for instance, is a perfect example. We're just moving out of that and reassuring the international community that, yes, we'll honor our obligations. Are you up to the task and looking at the figures while you invest?
So I happen to have lived and worked in Africa for the last 11 years before taking this job in March. So I have lived those challenges, what you are mentioning, and I feel for Africans. It's a system is a little unfair, frankly, to them. What gives me hope in your question? When you take tough reforms, as Ghana has undertaken, it makes sense only if you can actually attract private sector investment. So from that sense, if you have taken the big plunge of difficult reforms, the timing for attracting private sector investment is now. Therefore, in case of Ghana, whether it is large-scale utility-scale solar power, whether it is for commercial and industrial consumers like the Helios power, or whether it is a lot more new innovation, whether it's green hydrogen, but even solar pumps. One thing I must add, I'm very excited in terms of the opportunity, is why should a country like Ghana have less than 8% of its agriculture land irrigated, when that figure is 60% for countries like India and China. And for doing irrigation, solar pumps now presents 1/4 of the life cycle cost of diesel. So there are ways by which a lot of agriculture productivity can also be done through solar. So these are new things that we are a lot more hopeful, even under the macroeconomic constraints, because all of it is productivity and private sector led.
Well, you understand the figures better because you've been with the World Bank, but it won't be a walk in the park, will it?
Yes.
Because we're talking about technology. There's a global divide already. Africa is way behind. How do we leapfrog and then leapfrog again just to catch up to solar and then the global divide? It's a challenge, isn't it?
It is. But as I always say, the challenge is also an opportunity. And as I repeat, one of the main parts of what I'm much more excited about is that Africa must take charge of its own destiny rather than waiting for outsiders to come and tell what to do. This is the story of Asia. If you look at India and Vietnam, they take charge of how do you take charge? You take charge by creating an ecosystem of different parts coming together. I spoke about policy and regulatory framework. We spoke about capacity.
Yeah.
We spoke about entrepreneurship, and let's add local currency financing. You bring all of these things together and a great curry of jollof rice will come, by which, frankly, only when you get all the ingredients right and you create the ecosystem, country takes off.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm very excited to bring that experience for Africa.
And I believe you enjoy the Ghanaian jollof more than the Nigerian one. Anyway.
well, my Nigerian colleagues will not like me, but I will go with Ghanaian jollof.
We'll see about that. But still there's skepticism, isn't it, about solar, the technology itself, with the shifting sands of geopolitics. You find many political rhetoric around renewables, largely. Where do you stand in all of this? The fact that, superpowers and some key figures, actors across the world, are still pushing, making a case for fossils.
The way I look at it, Blessed, is what makes sense for the country should do. Let me give you an example. 4 fragile countries of Africa, Chad, Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Togo, were grappling with heavy fuel and diesel-based generation of 25 cents per unit. When they did the first competitive tender of solar with batteries, the price came at 4 cents. That's 15% of the cost. My experience after that, let economics decide for each country what's good. For some countries, we are not here to preach don't do ABC. You decide what's good for your country. And my analysis shows that for every country, solar in its generation mix has a lot more to offer than what Africa has done. So it is in Africa's own interest, given the solar radiation, given the energy needs, that solar is promoted in a way that serves the economic growth objectives of your country.
And while we are at this, the aim is 2030, the UN Secretary General's vision of leaving no one behind by that timeline. Are you confident we'll meet that?
What I'm confident is that we will be left far, far behind if we don't move to what our new strategy, from which I'm here for, is moving from ambition to action. The time for advocacy, discussion, and conferences is out. What countries really need is very deep implementation support that requires technical skills, navigational skills, capacity building skills. And this integrated mix can really help to go at least to 10% of renewable energy, say in Ghana's case, eventually moving to a much larger number.
And finally, Ghanaian, so I'm interested, very curious knowing, just wanting to find out what's in the kitty for us. You're in Accra, you've held meetings and I believe some engagements with Ghanaian authorities. Who have you been speaking to, and is there hope that we will be benefiting from this ISA package?
So we are very hopeful of signing a country partnership framework with Ghana. And that's important because among our 4 pillars, we help countries on catalytic finance, we help countries build capacity and digitization, we help countries on technology policy. But with very few countries, I must admit, because we cannot be everywhere, we get into a country partnership framework for a deep partnership of next 3 to 5 years, and Ghana is going to be one of the countries. What you ask me what success would look like, I can tell you the areas. Quantifiable targets, we'll talk in a couple of months. First, a lot more solar in the energy mix. Both utility scale, whether it's by VRA, ECG, but also by commercial and industrial. Helios is a great example, how it can be scaled further. Solar pumps. I'm coming from Ethiopia, where Ethiopia is looking at 1 million solar pumps to replace all the diesel pumps. Some program of an ambition of that kind for Ghana to get agriculture and food security agenda going will be a great issue for us to really focus on. And finally, capability. Ghana can lead Africa in terms of startups and capacity. If we make progress on these 3 areas, I'll be very satisfied.
If there's a message for Ghanaians, what would you want that to be?
Take charge. Take charge in terms of building your own capability, building your own house in order. Because if you have the right bankable projects, if you have the right capability, the startups that we are here to offer as equals, not as preachiness. This is the beauty of a Global South institution. It's not about preachiness that this is the only way. It's about co-creation together. Let's get on this journey. Doors will open.
Exciting times ahead, isn't it? Ashish Kana, thank you so much
you,
for
Bless.
talking to us. And I'm looking forward to the Ghanaian package. When you come, we'll treat you to Ghanaian jollof, I promise.
Thank you
see
for the
again.
opportunity.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner.
Where Duraplas goes, water flows.
PS Industries has introduced a new roofing system known as ColorLink Plus.
Flamingo paint, simply superior. Syntax tank, are you strong? Are you tough?
Cherry Tree Properties. We develop spaces as though we were going to occupy them.
Ghana exported some $6 billion worth of gold produced by small-scale miners alone within the first 8 months of 2025. Never mind that could include illegal gold. Galamsey, I mean. This week, Africa's #1 and the world's 6th gold producer hosted an important mining convention in Accra. A big announcement that ENP had taken complete control of the Black Volta and Sankofa gold projects. Projects expected to create some 1,500 jobs in one of the poorest regions, the Upper West. But Azuma Resources denies ENP has acquired it and taken control of those projects. It heads to the International Court of Arbitration to reverse what it calls unlawful seizure. Second time, ENP is talking about an acquisition and Azuma Resources is denying and rebuffing same. The first time, the government intervened through the minister responsible for lands and natural resources. How long will this tug of war and bad press for Ghana in the Committee of Nations continue? Or shall we say it's just ended? In the course of the week, President John Mahama took questions from journalists. I was there, didn't get to ask a question though. This week, and some of his answers provoke debates. Why is the president reluctant in declaring a state of emergency to fight Galamsey? You'll get to appreciate that. But the CEOs, the CSOs in this area are outraged. It's Operation Recover or Loot, Oral. That was promised to give us some 21, billion? Or $1 million. Is it compromised? As officials are cutting deals with looters. And shall we be concerned or be happy that the president has unleashed the national security to trace and deal with makers of hate speech, as there seems to be a crackdown on same, with arrests without the prospects of bail for suspects? There's a judge who is on the chopping board since yesterday. Some say that judge is completely, absolutely unfit to be a judge. He's incompetent. He should be removed immediately. We'll be right back to deal with the vexed matters.
Still, Misaka, and Nemum was a summer brabo, and it can afford Swabrabo.
Misaka pensions, Caro.
Misaka order Sikam.
Misaka insurance.
Misaka loan.
Momo Fogusuri ye echumaden, the aboye nyina ye sika ho ban. Se MTN, ana Momo jumaye ni befrewa, or the 0244 300,000 ene befrew. Ne numpo orin bitsaw one-time password, ana se upin code. Enti wonso ye wa femu die na ma weni na ho na wonsa enka omo.
For decades, we have helped businesses connect with their trade partners all over the globe. From Ghana to Burkina Faso, Côte d'Ivoire, Benin, Togo, Senegal, China, Morocco, France, Netherlands, and many other countries. We have made it possible to bring Ghana to the world. We have brought small and medium businesses closer to their customers across the regions in Ghana with our SME support facilities. We have brought relief and smiles to the faces of families with our employee personal loans. With our cutting-edge technology and digital support, we take the burden of complex thinking off you, making life simple. That is who we are, as close as a partner. Bank of Africa. We are indeed the African bank with the global reach.
Ghana, the wait is over. The grand finale of the Energy Commission Senior High School's Renewable Energy Challenge is here. Watch as 6 outstanding schools, Presbyterian Boys SHS Presekli Gone, Adidome Senior High School, Ahantaman Girls Senior High School, Ola Girls Secondary School Kenyase, Damongo Senior High School, and Dabopa Technical Institute compete for the ultimate title of Ghana's Clean Energy Champion. Join us on Tuesday, 7th October 2025 at the Accra International Conference Center at 10 a.m. Who will rise to the top? Catch the thrilling finals live on JoyNews at 10 a.m. prompt. The Senior High School Renewable Energy Challenge is powered by the Energy Commission and the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition in partnership with the Ghana Education Service and the Ghana TVET Service, and with support from GIZ, Ashesi University, Volta River Authority, Greenfield Ambassadors, Star Oil, and the PURC. Media partner JoyNews.
So, Charlie, the deal there, I almost get her.
Syntax pipe, as tough as it can get.
You get so sorry with your back, sorry. Oh, what you was that thing? What the cat never won. Hey! Now I'm back.
Between a fire and carbon.
Hey, madam, pipe menu.
A Syntax pipe. Metono, Omukacham send a word pa. Say a fee, say a foam. The other pipe we be a yannick gum.
Syntax pipe.
Why a leaky?
Come, madam. From today, Syntax pipe in my pipe. No 2 ways.
When you know, pipe Ben Abe Yusu.
SINTEX pipe.
Syntax pipe.
In a carry water. No hala.
Kwame and his uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, Mommy.
I'm the second coming. Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again?
Now I understand the whole delay. Troll from Kaswa dear. Why wouldn't he be late? Or be late, of course.
Coffee be the luckiest. Coffee from Georgia be luckiest. From not the block, she be luckiest. Yeah, you coffee be luckiest. No matter why you're lucky, everybody go be that luckiest.
So would the coming of the son of man be.
Hey!
Is that his car?
Dial star 712#. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompts and let destiny handle the rest.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
You're welcome back. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis platform. And here on Newsfile, we put Ghana first. I'm Samson Ladi Anyanini. And my guest this morning, Bright Simmons, Honorary Vice President, Imani Africa, a prolific writer and contributor on matters of national interest and public interest, particularly when they involved international parties as well. Bobby Banson is private legal practitioner and he's a lecturer, Ghana School of Law. He has some business to do with the EMP, who Azuma Resources has issued a statement denying the EMP's announcement of a complete, acquisition of the Azuma Resources and a takeover and control of the Black Volta and Sankofa projects. Mine projects in the Upper West region. In the second segment, we shall have Venus Afuseni, former MP, Tamale Central, former ranking member, Constitutional Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee of Parliament of Ghana, Dennis Miracle Sabwaji, Director of Communications of the Dr. Baumia Campaign, Senyor Hosi, convener, One Ghana Movement, and a trustee of the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey. They are so unhappy. They are so outraged that the president could give some of the responses he gave, particularly to Kojo Yanssen's question at the Meet the Press encounter Wednesday with him, where he suggested that the gold board that has facilitated the export of 6 million, worth of gold, dollars worth of gold, may have done so dealing with illegal gold as well, as in Galamsey gold. But did he exactly say that? They're also not happy that he says he's reluctant to declare a state of emergency on our water bodies and forest reserves because he believes that the current approach is working. And did the president also say that the excavators in the hundreds that are being removed from the Tema port to some other places, that all of them are going into safe custody pursuant to the ban, and none is getting, secretly moved and cleared for some people who own them? Well, it does appear he does not have the full information, that some people may be misleading him. We'll share you some information in the course of this discussion. Thank you all very much for joining us. And so we will begin and try and deal with the latest development with the Azuma Resources and EMP matter quickly, and then we'll zoom into taking 3 of the major issues out of the president's press encounter to also deal with, including, of course, what appears to be a crackdown on hate speech. And the president says that the National Signals Bureau is tracing you through your IP to pick you up. Should we be happy about that or we should not? Well, some people are very, very happy that there's just too much recklessness and too much, nation-wrecking comments that have been allowed to go unpunished. But there are those who say this is danger territory, evading and invading our constitutionally guaranteed right to speech, terrain. And now the arrest of Abronye and the judge's refusal to grant him bail after 2 appearances. That is also irking very many people. And some lawyers are making commentary. And some are very blunt to say outright that that judge is not fit to sit in our court. His conduct, per the ruling he delivered in denying bail, is clear evidence of incompetence, which is a basis for his removal from the bench. We'll deal with all of that. Thank you very much for joining us. Let me welcome Bright once again. Thanks for joining us, Bright.
Thanks for having me, Sam.
Great.
Always a pleasure.
And good to see you in your Madiba outfits.
When in South Africa, do what the South Africans do.
Right. Great. Just how many months ago we were here?
Yes.
On this same issue, yes. And you helped to break it down so well for us to understand. On that occasion, ENP had said almost what it has said today. Then we discovered later that the Minister of Environment had to make an intervention. And then the 2 parties had to go back to try and sit down to resolve, which clearly suggested that what they had said they had done had not been done or had been done wrongly. Today, they make a similar announcement. Then Azuma Resources shows up and says once again, and this is what they say, Professor Prince Amponsa, chairman of Azuma Ghana, said, quote, "This is false information designed to confuse the public." He's talking about the EMP announcement that it has completed the acquisition of Azuma Resources and taking control of the Black Volta and Sankofa Gold projects. So, Professor Prince Amponsa, chairman of Azuma Resources Ghana, says, quote, "This is false information designed to confuse the public. It is consistent with EMP's previous strategy of making public statements without any substance. Only last week, EMP abandoned its claims against us, confirming what the courts and contracts already show, that Azuma Ghana is the rightful owner of the Black Volta and Sankofa projects. Any suggestion to the contrary is baseless. Our focus now is on moving rapidly into development and delivering over $100 million of investment and thousands of jobs for the people of the Upper West region." End quotes. That sounds like trouble.
Yes, I think the situation has worsened since we last spoke. Because when we last spoke, ENP had done an announcement that they had raised money from the ECOWAS Bank to buy the assets. And I was suggesting that because they are in dispute with the owners of the asset, and we'll come back to this issue around ownership, they couldn't have acquired it without the participation of the owners. What has happened since then, and what is quite alarming, is that EMP has proceeded to transfer the shares of the company to themselves. And that is the alarming part of things, which is to say that as a negotiation tactic, they've left the owners almost with no choice than to walk away. And I think what they are trying to do is to ensure that the owners will take the lowest price possible for the assets. And that is why this is a public interest issue, because let's not mince words about this. The 100% shareholder of ENP is a very, very prominent politician in this country. It's one of the most formidable politicians in this country. In that respect alone, if politically connected people are able to use this kind of strong arm tactics when involved in a commercial transaction, it has the effect of damaging the investment climate. Because if you're an investor and you worry that if there's an incident and somehow you come into conflict with someone that's politically connected, they can take actions that ordinarily other businesses will have great restraint or reluctance taking because they will be confronted by the law enforcement authorities and the other authorities. So that is really where we are. What happened is that, and it's a very convoluted matter, and therefore one risks the prospect of providing so much information that people get confused. But I'll do my best to try and break down the core issues. First, there's a public interest not only because the 100% shareholder of EMP, Engineers and Planners, is a very prominent politician in this country and is indeed the sibling of the certain president. It's also the fact that mining is a unique industry because government always has shares in every mine. This is not the case in hotels or other sectors or even other regulated sectors like banking, etc. The second reason is also that mining typically is intertwined with conflict and environmental damage. We all know the Galamsey issues and the rest of it. So globally, we've set up a regime, and that regime requires civil society to be part of the arrangements in relation to mining. We call it the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, which is why someone like myself is deeply involved in a matter like this, because I think the sunlight, publicizing the matters are necessary. Anyway, to explain this whole situation, we need to go back to some of the key points I made last time, right, around the ownership, etc. It is true that the main deposits in this gold mine, there are two gold mines we are talking about. I'll focus primarily on Black Volta because the Sankofa gold mine is not well developed. Black Volta is maybe 90% of the value of what we are discussing. The Black Volta itself is multiple deposits. In fact, one of the deposits, Julie, was acquired later and added to the mine much later. The original people who discovered the resource, the main resource, which is called Kunche, are not even involved in the picture at all because that was as far back as 1998. Those people then sold it on to a group led by a gentleman called David Harper, who is still in this country, that attempted to develop this Kunche resource by raising money in Australia in 2006, between 2005 and 2006. So what that means, therefore, is that for a very long time, the asset that we are talking about here was owned by a different group of people. It was only in 2017, when that group of people ran out of money, that this current owners, this set of current owners, which is Ibira, came into the picture. This is 2017. And they only acquired full ownership in 2020. So there's a lot of discussion around what they've been sitting on the assets since 1992, and it's not correct. I'm just giving you the correct picture. It's also true that the mining lease does not date from 1992. The mining lease actually dates from 2014, and it's just a 15-year lease. So it's not one of those 30-year leases, etc. So it's a 15-year lease, and that 15-year lease expires in 2029. So there are two leases there. There's Bepon and there's Kunche. All of this to explain that when people suggest that somebody was sitting on the resource without developing it, it's not correct. The next set of facts is that the current investors, which is Ibira, had invested in this Azuma Ghana prospect through a set of special purpose vehicles. There is one called IGIC, which is incorporated in Singapore. And there is the original Azuma in Australia, which they had acquired on the stock market. So the Azuma Ghana is owned primarily by IGIC and Azuma Australia. And IGIC also owns Azuma Australia. So when you combine, IGIC essentially owns 100% of the company, the Azuma Ghana. IGIC is just a fund of Ibira. Remember that for tax reasons, typically the actual transacting medium, the vehicle that is doing the investment and things like that, could be put in another jurisdiction from where the fund itself is domiciled.
Okay.
So in the case of Ibira, because of tax reasons or other reasons, they decided that the company that would buy the entity in Ghana and in Australia will be based in Singapore, which is the IGIC. So essentially, Ibaira, as a private equity fund, owns all of Azuma Ghana. There's no dispute whatsoever about it. There are 4 partners in Ibaira, one of which is the James Moore Bank that you keep hearing about, another is the John Honsky, and there are 2 others. And those 4 partners, of those 4, 2 sit on the board of Azuma Ghana. So that's also another important point to clarify. The third critical point to clarify is that in 2023, when there was an agreement between IGIC, Azuma Ghana, Azuma Australia, etc., with E&P, engineers and planners, all those who were signing on the other side from engineers and planners were controlled essentially by Ibaira. There's no doubt and dispute about that as well. And I have all the documents here, which I'm happy to show to your viewers. So in essence, engineers and planners have always known that they are dealing with Ibaira, and that the key partners of Ibaira, led by James World Bank, are the owners of the assets. There's never been any doubt. They are currently negotiating to conclude the transaction, and I'll come to that in a minute. And the people on the other side, which is essentially Azuma Australia and IGIC, are controlled by Ibaira, and E&P knows that because it's in continuous negotiation with them. The 4th point, which is equally critical, is that when the agreement between E&P and Azuma, the Azuma entities, which is essentially Ibaira, were consummated in 2023, it was very clear from reading the agreement. We've had international legal experts read the agreement thoroughly to confirm our understanding, whether our understanding of the agreement is correct. It is very clear that the nature of the agreement was not sell and walk away. The nature of the agreement was a framework for acquisition and development together. And that framework required, first and foremost, E&P to pay some amount of money, $50 million plus another $50 million, as a right to participation, but it also required them to build their mine over time, because the $100 million was only for the issue shares, and they were supposed to have more shares vested in them as they developed the mine. So there was never a case of we are selling the mine for $100 million, pay them $100 million and walk away kind of scenario. There was always a marriage, a strategic marriage to develop the mine together. The 5th point is that ultimately, the way that the parties understood the agreement appeared to differ. For instance, when E&P brought a potential offer from the ECOWAS Bank to the table, the other guys felt that that offer did not meet the terms of the agreement. I'll give you a couple of examples. One, there was a belief that the $130 million that the ECOWAS Bank is offering is not enough to cover the needs of the project, because the bankability feasibility study suggested that the estimated $150 to $160 million was not enough.
So when they rejected that, they came a second time with another term sheet.
And that still did not reach the over $200 million that, in the view of Ibaira, the bankability feasibility studies suggested is needed. And the understanding of the agreement was that you will raise whatever is needed. E&P obviously had a different view. But whatever be the case, those are the two trying to get into a meeting of minds. So what happened then is that they then also looked at the terms and realized that it was indicative. It was for discussion purposes. And therefore, it's not a firm offer. And they rejected it. A second one, they rejected it. Another attempt through Afrexim Bank, which is another offer, was also not accepted. Those details are before an arbitral panel, before E&P withdrew the matter. But my point is that there was no meeting of minds. Because there was no meeting of minds, at some point, Ibaira, which controls the entities that own this Ghana entity, the Azuma Ghana, terminated agreement. And when you look at the termination agreement, which I'll also show very soon, you will see that all the people that signed are the very people that E&P entered into the agreement with. So if you think of Kangol, which is another special purpose vehicle, the person that was responsible for Kangol signed. If you think of Azuma Resources, John Ronson's kind, and what's his name? James World Bank also signed. So in effect, there was a termination that E&P disputes. Now, before that, E&P had already gone to arbitration. But who did E&P take to arbitration? A group of companies, all of whom are ultimately controlled by Ibaira. Now, in the course of that, E&P then proposed to hold this event, which I had gotten wind of because I'm in E&P's affairs because we are in court, right? So I then...
At the time, E&P had been successful in the local court in securing an injunction against.
Yes, an injunction to prevent the sale of the asset or any kind of investment coming into the asset that does not come through EMP.
Correct.
Essentially, but if you read the judgment of the what do you call it, the High Court judge, it was very clear that she was freezing action on both sides, and we will display that also for viewers to see. If you read the phrasing that the judge used, so that effectively meant therefore that in a way things were in a standstill. Then when this event was held, which brought this whole matter to the limelight, we suggested that event was not proper because the other persons who owned the asset were not party to the agreements, and that was confirmed by Azuma. This recent incident involved the transfer of shares by an individual purporting to be the beneficial owner to EMP. To our minds, or in our minds, that individual is not truly the beneficial owner in that sense of the word, because he doesn't really own the shares.
And that was the most important question I was going to ask you after you said that EMP is transferring these shares onto itself. When we see, even in the pictures that we have seen in the course of the week, where these processes are happening and there's a signing, as you see them on the TV, Azuma Resources was represented. But now what you are saying is that the person purporting to represent Azuma Resources is somebody else.
Okay, so this person that you see, this gentleman in the middle, this Caucasian gentleman in the middle, has actually nothing to do with Azuma Resources. If my understanding is correct, this is somebody who is linked to Caterpillar or one of the vendors that provide equipment to EMP. But EMP's representative here will explain if this person is any of the Ibira or other owners. So the key principles are very straightforward. The person who was listed as the beneficial owner is a gentleman called Hector Ninaku. Hector is the secretary. He's an inherited employee of EMP in that he was in the company before, inherited employee of Azuma Ghana Resources, because he was in the company before this group, these new owners of Azuma, came to play. Are you understand what I'm saying? So you remember that this company has been around for a while and these people bought into the company. Okay. So when they bought into the company, Hector Ninaku was already the administration manager of the company. So they inherited him. Now he was, because of the fact that he was administration manager.
Saying that these people who are at this signing, there's a signing, they're all happy. There's some deception.
No, I'm saying that this white man has nothing to do with Azuma in any way. This is a Caterpillar or some vendor, who provides equipment to EMP. You have to remember that we are dealing with a think tank, right? So there's nothing we'll say that we haven't exhaustively kind of, and remember, people assume that we have an interest. We really don't have an interest. We are interested in transparency.
Right.
Yeah.
So hold on quickly let me come to Bobby.
Okay.
So Bobby, on the 8th of this month, Azuma Ghana issued a statement. It's headed, Azuma Ghana denies false reports of EMP takeover of Black Volta and Sankofa projects. It said Azuma Resources Ghana Limited has today categorically denied reports claiming that Engineers and Planners has completed the acquisition of Azuma Ghana and Upwest Resources Ghana and has taken control of Black Volta and Sankofa Gold project. These reports are false and without any legal basis. Azuma Ghana remains a lawful owner and operator of the projects. No shares have been transferred to EMP by Azuma Ghana, Upwest, or their shareholders. Not only is this untrue, but as recently as Friday, EMP formally abandoned its claim against Azuma Ghana, a development widely reported in the Ghanaian media as paving the way for Azuma Ghana to commence development of the WA and Black Volta project unimpeded. The Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Emmanuel Amakufibua, was internationally praised for resolving the Azuma EMP dispute and assuring investors at the Africa Down Under Conference in Australia that Ghana remains a model of stability. Yet within days, EMP has defied that resolution by forcibly seizing the mine without legal basis, directly undermining the minister's own words and casting significant doubt on Ghana's ability to guarantee the rule of law. If such a transfer had occurred, it would amount to an expropriation of private property. This would expose the government of Ghana to claims exceeding $1 billion under both Ghanaian law and international treaties. It would also fundamentally undermine the message delivered by the Honorable Minister at Africa Down Under last week. Zuma Ghana intends to apply immediately to the International Court of Arbitration to prevent any such unlawful seizure by EMP and to ensure that the rights of its shareholders and the interests of the people of Ghana are fully protected. There are 2 more paragraphs to conclude this statement.
Yes, Thompson, good morning. Good morning to the viewers. Like you said, 2 months ago, you were expecting me to be here when this started, but I had to pull out at the last minute. I apologize to you. And I want to say this, that
the minister had issued a statement.
Yes.
Called all of you to order.
Yes. The challenge.
Called you to a negotiation that he will mediate.
Yes.
Or the minister will mediate through a committee.
Yes.
And ask all of you to cease fire.
Yes.
All right.
Now, the challenge that I have, and I would say EMP has, is that, you see, the media publications or discussions are not being done by the disputant parties. In the sense that Mr. Simmons had made reference to Iberia, to Kangol, to Egik. You do not have anybody sitting here saying that I'm from Iberia, I'm from Kangol, I'm from Egik. Mr. Simmons obviously gets his information from whatever sources he's getting. He is, for lack of a better word, lawyers will say, relaying hearsay information, what somebody has told him. Now, EMP, and to an extent myself, because I was involved from day one, the negotiation of this before the contract was signed. So I didn't just come in. In 2022, when the original owners approached EMP before negotiations dovetailed into 2023 before agreement, I was part from day one. So I know this not because somebody has told me or a client has asked me to come and say it, because I was part of the negotiations.
So we also get information, we get documents, we verify.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. When you have documents, he said that they have asked the international lawyers to interpret the document for them. And based on the interpretation...
He says so because he's not a lawyer.
That is what I'm coming to. I feel challenged. Because what it will mean is that you are literally asking me to have an analysis of a legal document with a non-lawyer. Now, I would, and I had made this point earlier.
He's been advised.
What is the weight of that advice when it cannot be relied on?
When you advise your clients, you're supposed to use your advice.
No, but that is what I'm saying. He's not a client.
That doesn't make...
He's not a party.
I'm saying when you advise your clients, normally, you expect them to use the advice.
Oh, yes.
And that doesn't make the advice less potent.
But that is what I'm saying.
Because it's not being communicated by a lawyer.
That is what I'm saying. No. What is this? I am not the client. I am the lawyer.
Okay.
So if I ask legal questions, he will not be able to answer.
All right.
Now, the point that I want to make is that there are 2 matters that I really want to respond to this morning, if you could permit me. The first one is the consistent allegation of me personally, having been engaged in some form of conflict of interest. I remember on your show, he kept using the word, my good friend Bobby Banson, our good friend, has been paid a certain amount, I think 500,000.
You mean the previous edition?
Yeah, the previous show, which he has consistently repeated. Now, because as a professional, we are guided by a code of ethics that regulates what we do, how we do it, how we say it. You've known me since 2005, not today. This measure acquisition involving is not the first one that I have done to this volume. It's not. And hopefully by the grace of God, it will not be the last. So I would want on this platform an opportunity to explain that, Mr. Simmons, I have not pocketed 500,000 as you were told. You were giving bank statements.
Lawyer. If you work and you get paid, what's wrong with it?
He didn't say that it was my payment.
Okay, go ahead.
If he said it was my payment, it's different.
He was giving bank statements.
He has said that I have been unlawfully paid $500,000
from an account without the knowledge of the owners of that account, and I have used that money to pursue arbitration. And he had said that that constitutes conflict of interest. And he had repeated it on his social media handles. Now, it is never true. One, something. You, as a lawyer, know in transactions, there are instances where the client's holding accounts, which the ethics of our legal profession allows us to open for certain transactions, will be allowed to hold money in the form of an escrow. As soon as whatever conditions are met, those monies are transferred to whoever is supposed to receive. Now, this $500,000, now because of client privileged information, was not transferred to me as fees. It has never been kept by me. When this $500,000 was paid into our client holding account, it was for a specific purpose. That the signatories to that account, which are board members of Azuma, wanted the money paid into my account until the issues surrounding the signatories to that account are resolved. So in effect, I was just holding it. As soon as the signatories to that account was resolved by virtue of the court order or the court processes in Ghana, all of the $500,000, not even one CD, was transferred back into the Azuma account. Not even, and this was as far back as November 18, 2024. So for it to be repeated now, as if that money is still sitting in my account, or I'm using that money for any collateral purpose, was most unfortunate. And I'm using the word unfortunate because if indeed Mr. Simmons and his team said they don't have any interest in this matter, they wanted to verify, they could have easily written to say that we are going to town with an allegation that you have received $500,000, which you are using for purpose or without the knowledge of the owner. What is your response to it? Then we can say that, okay, they reached out and I chose not to respond, or they reached, because this does not involve EMP. The allegations that he made concerning the $500,000 was against myself. It had nothing to do with EMP.
Which is the next issue, so that he can respond quickly.
Yes.
Then you go to the question that I asked you, because that is our primary concern, where we are being told that the announcement that was made this week is false. There is some expropriation. This is putting Ghana in a very bad light. There is some unlawful seizure, putting Ghana in a very bad light internationally, and that Azuma is the rightful owner of these resources, and it says it is now moving rapidly into development and delivery of over 100 million of investment and thousands of jobs. So what's the second issue?
Yes, it will tie down into the first part of your issue, that there has been expropriation. Expropriation is when the government, that you are a foreign investor, unlawfully seizes or prevents you from realizing the full extent of your investment.
That's right.
Now, in this transaction, there has not been any one single involvement of the government of Ghana until the foreigners, for lack of a better word, voluntarily wrote to the minister and asked him to mediate. And so
this is what happened?
Yes, they wrote.
Okay.
Now, it's sad when the...
First of all, it's the company that invited EMP to come and acquire the asset.
Yes.
And second, you are saying when the minister made the intervention, it was they who brought in the minister.
Who wrote the minister?
Okay, go ahead.
The only time that EMP wrote to the ministry was to get a no objection letter. I think late last year or early this year, and we went through all the processes, and then it was issued in March 2025.
You're explaining why there's no government involvement until when Azuma Resources got
Australia brought
the minister in. Okay.
So to that extent. Now, the point which ties into that I really want to make is that it's quite unfair that this transaction, having been started in 2022, highlighted in 2023, agreements signed in 2024. Whatever has happened to those agreements, I'm not going to talk about it, but I'm saying that to say that this transaction is being consummated because of political interference is quite unfair. You see, it is unfair because it undermines the very efforts that everybody has put in right from the beginning, as if you just came up and from 8th January 2025, which is when His Excellency John Mahama became president, then EMP decided to say, we want this asset, so let's go and take it. It's really unfair. When you do that, it is not only EMP that you are attacking, because the so-called allegation you are saying international investment is, the international climate, investment climate, people are talking about it. It is not only Mr. Dramani Mahama or EMP that they are talking about. They are talking about the whole Ghana. Now, if you go to EMP or if you go to where the miners, the people there are not only aligned to any one political party. You cannot say that EMP workers all vote for a certain political party, or where the miners, they belong to one political party. This is a Ghanaian matter. This transaction, like I keep saying, was started in 2022. Agreements fully negotiated and signed in 2023. Things went on up to 2024. So you cannot say that only maybe from 8th January, all of a sudden EMP woke up and decided that we wanted this mine. So we just walked in and said we are taking it by force. That is most unfair. It undermines the efforts that all parties involved have put in to bring it to this light. Now, Samson, I will be slow to respond to the essence of your question for one reason. He indicated that as we speak, there are serious attempts to bring closure to all of these misunderstandings. And as between today, tomorrow, the next day, is very crucial. Now, I will not, with respect, want to inflame, for lack of a better word, passions.
So that's a fact.
That's a fact.
That there are serious negotiations ongoing as we speak.
As we speak.
To bring a closure.
I'm supposed to leave immediately I finish to finalize the discussions. As you are aware, the stakeholders involved are in different jurisdictions, Singapore, Australia, and the timelines are not aligned. Australia, for example, is 8 hours. So we've been working in the past 72 hours over time to be able to finish this. And I have to be part, but because of these issues and the promise that we had, I didn't want it to be repeated. I just wanted to come and clear these two things. That it is not true that monies had been paid into an account unlawfully and are being kept to achieve a certain purpose. Secondly, it is not true, never the case, that this transaction has come about because of political interference. It has never been the case. They approached EMP in 2022. At that time, Mr. Mahama'S brother was not president. He was in opposition. If they were looking for political help, they would not have gone to him. Agreement was negotiated and signed in 2023. Parties started implementing their various parts of the agreement in 2024, and dispute arose. Dispute arose in 2024. Now, whatever steps have been taken by EMP subsequently, they are subject matters that will be consummated in the course of these negotiations. And so I would not want to go into this person did this. As you know, when you are in negotiations, sometimes the tone, the discussion, that is why I'm restrained, because whatever Mr. Simon says here cannot be held against the people who we are negotiating with. Because obviously, he has not said he is here in the capacity as their representative. But whatever I say here, I'm the same person that in the next 30 minutes, I'm expected to go and sit at the table. And I'm sure they are watching, or he will let them know that, oh, Bobby even said you have done this, you have done that.
Sorry. When you say they are watching, or he will let them know.
And that is what I'm saying, because he's definitely in communication with them. Let me tell you why. Samson, the International Chamber of Commerce.
Do you think what you are doing now is fair?
To which one?
What you're doing, attempting to do to Bright is fair.
Oh, what did I do? I'm saying he's in communication with them.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you why. And if I'm lying, he can say it. And
of course, he has said he's received documentation and all of that.
No, and I'm saying the source of the documentation leads me no doubt that he's in communication with them. And let me tell you why. The International Chamber of Commerce, maybe he does not know, but you will know. The International Chamber of Commerce, where we were having the arbitration, the ICC, has a portal that only parties and lawyers, I think to a large extent lawyers, would have access to that portal. So if I sue Samson, I commence arbitration against Samson Ladi at the ICC. The ICC opens a portal that you would have the code, I would have the code. The notice to withdraw was uploaded on that portal, the exclusive portal that only lawyers have access to. On Friday was 4th or 5th September at 10 p.m. Less than 3 hours later, which is the Saturday, 6th September at 12, what time was the post? 12:57 a.m., less than 3 hours, Mr. Simmons has posted that notice on his Twitter account. This document was not sent by email for you to say that somebody received it by email.
It tells me, if I look at him from the perspective from which we have dealt with him over the years, that he does his job well. He knows how to get his job done well.
But that is what I'm saying, that as we sit here, I'm not saying this disrespectfully, but as a fact, you and I, because of our profession, we have ethical boundaries. There are privileged information that when a lawyer comes by in the course of discussions, negotiations, cases, you cannot sit and go to media with it.
Correct.
Otherwise, when I leave here, General Legal Counsel would ask me, you are bound by certain regulations. I cannot justify it. With all due respect, Mr. Simmons doesn't have that. I cannot say that he belongs to an organization, a professional body that will regulate some of these. So, for example, I could not have, per the confidentiality agreements under the ICC rules, I could not have shared that notice of withdrawal with you.
Correct.
But he can share on his X page because he has no ethical boundary in that context.
Right.
And the lawyers at that stage, at that level, cannot post it on their X because that would be obviously in breach. That is why I'm saying that I have avoided this for only this reason. And I'm trying very hard to still remain.
Before I let Bright come in, what you admit as a fact that he has disclosed also tells a different story. That as we speak, there are ongoing negotiations to try and bring matters to a close.
Yes.
But the announcement by EMP in the course of the week was that you had completed acquisition and you had completely taken over.
Do you have the EMP statement? The EMP statement was very categorical. EMP has acquired all the equity shares.
All equity shares?
Yes.
That's correct.
That was what EMP said.
Right.
EMP said they have acquired all the equity shares. Very clear. And it even stated from the beneficial owner, and having acquired that, with the prior approval, the letter of no objection from the Minerals Commission, and has completed the registration of the share transfer at the Registry of Companies. The statement from EMP contained these elements.
Explain to us, what does it mean from the beneficial owner?
Yeah, I'm going to explain. Something, every corporate entity, most likely, maybe not in all situations, but most likely would have two interest owners. And I'm making this general because you've asked, not again, I'm restricted.
Just education.
Just education. I don't want to go into...
The communication said beneficial owner.
Yes.
And not every member of the public will appreciate what it means to say beneficial owner. They may not even pay attention to that.
Okay. Now, so I'll make notes and explain what beneficial owner, but because you said the negotiations, every entity, most likely than not, it may not be the case for everyone, would have two stakeholders. From a basic, I'm using the language not to sound too legalistic.
This company law.
Company law.
Yeah.
Stakeholders may be in the form of equity owners and creditors of the company. Now, equity owners are the ones who would own the issued shares of the company. The creditors are not owners of issued shares of the company unless they have an agreement for preference share arrangement or they have debentures that restricts the transfer of shares under certain circumstances. Now, EMP in the statement indicated that they will now proceed to deal with the creditors. It was in the statement. And so if I say that there are negotiations, I am not going outside the ambit of the statement.
It is a continuing process.
Exactly, because EMP made it very clear that now we have completed all the equity acquisition. We have completed that registration at the Registrar General's Department.
To deal with the creditors.
It was in the statement.
Okay.
So if I say there are negotiations without disclosing the extent of that negotiation, I have not gone outside or betrayed the essence of the statement by EMP. Now you've asked the question, who is a beneficial owner? Now a beneficial owner you would have access to the Companies Act?
Yes,
if we can, so that it is not as if I'm the one saying something that is not.
I have my legal resource, but you go ahead and just briefly tell us. Yeah.
No, I just want to read because I like the definition in the Companies Act. If you can help us with that, or if Mr. Simmons has access to it, I'm trying to see. Yes, I think I'll have it somewhere in my. Didn't bring.
All right, so this is Newsfile, Joy 99.7 FM, and this is your Joy News TV, Joy News channel, and we are trying to canvass the discussion. I just opened the Companies Act.
Okay, so you see the definition of beneficial owner.
Right. So the matter that the Azuma Resources is threatening international, taking it to the International Court of Arbitration and threatening that Ghana stands and risk over $1 billion US because of what they are seeking to do. That's actually what brings in the extreme national or public interest, for which when we look around, we can't see any civil society group that appear to have the capacity to help with the discussion than Bright Simmons. And that's why we call it. Yes,
have you found a beneficial owner?
I've just opened my Companies
so
Act,
you can look for it for me. But I can just generally, again, for discussions without necessarily narrowing down to the facts of the present matter, which I've said for ethical reasons, we'll not go into the details.
Okay.
If you say, and this is from international investment, international law perspective.
Okay.
If you say that you would want to take a country on in the context of expropriation, you cannot say it. It's not as if you are walking into a court to sue.
Right.
You must first demonstrate that you have a bilateral investment treaty between the country of the investor as disclosed to the home country, the host state as it's called, and the host state. And so if that talk comes out, you have to ask yourself these questions before you'll be able to narrow down. Now, the beneficial owner, if you find it, so that it comes from your gadget, we read it, and then we all have an understanding of it for general purposes.
I just wanted you to proceed with your explanation. Okay. If that mattered.
Yes, it mattered. Because if you pick up company incorporation forms today, there are international conventions that Ghana is a signatory to. That from 2018, which when the law was passed, the new Companies Act was passed in 2019, required that when you are filling in forms and submitting forms for registration at the company registry, you must disclose beyond who the shareholder is on the face of the incorporation document. You must disclose who the beneficial owner is. Now, the beneficial owner, often called the ultimate beneficial owner, is the final interest holder of the asset or of the company. And so every other person, as defined in the Act, would be acting at the instruction or at the direction of this ultimate beneficial owner or this beneficial owner.
Right.
A beneficial owner is not a trustee. A beneficial owner, per the law, is not holding the shares or is not an owner of the shares in trust for any person.
Okay.
And so if something you register, maybe you incorporate a company, and then you put your name as the shareholder, but you actually are acting on the instructions, or maybe you intend that whatever benefits come from the shares, the final decision maker in respect of this organization would be me.
Right.
Your name would appear as the shareholder, but my name would appear as the ultimate beneficial owner or the beneficial owner. What the law defines it to be is that you will be acting at my instructions or in my interest.
Right.
That is what the law says.
Right.
And so if you incorporate a company and then you fill out names of maybe Bobby Banson as the shareholder and then Samson Ladi as the beneficial owner, you, Samson Ladi, you have a lot of legal obligations, either rights or liabilities.
Yeah.
So it is not merely writing it there as it were.
So let me go to right now. So when he
I
said,
thought you were going to look at
when he said, I've gone through.
Okay.
Recently, not too long ago, we had to do an amendment to bring beneficial owners provision into the Companies Act.
Yes.
Because we felt that there were people who were hiding behind companies to do things. So we needed to know who exactly is the one who has put money in this business.
Yes.
That's why we passed that in Act 992 of 2019, and under Section 383, a beneficial owner is simply one who, the person who is directly or indirectly the owner or has control of the company or the legal arrangement, the person who receives substantial economic benefits from the company, the person who exercises significant influence over decisions or operations, or the true party behind the transaction, even if acting through a nominee or by proxies.
That is what the law says.
So you said you had acquired.
I think let me just get involved at this point, because
coming.
And also, I think if your producers will now allow me to start showing some documents, I'll be very grateful.
So we just did the explanation of beneficial owner, and the EMP is saying these are the people that they have dealt with so far, and they were going to now continue the process to deal with the creditors.
Okay. Yeah. So Samson, I'm actually quite amazed that Mr. Banson,
all stakeholders,
Mr. Banson will suggest that he has ethical boundaries that I don't have, purely by virtue of the fact that he's called to the bar in Ghana. And I guess because myself, as a lowly policy analyst and activist, cannot have ethical boundaries.
That's not what I said. Mr. Simon, that's not what I said.
But you see,
Bright and Bobby, hold on.
I will not.
Bright and Bobby, hold on. So when you were talking, and I was talking about the signing, signing process, I picked up these photographs and shared with my production to share with us. And my information is that these pictures, as published, were rather those that were published in 2023.
Yes.
And they were the pictures before Azuma agreement, before the Azuma agreement.
It's got nothing to do with
this is not the transfer that happened.
As you can see, it's a caterpillar.
Thank you very much.
And it has nothing to do with Azuma.
Right.
Okay.
So thank you.
So I am actually amazed that this ethical boundaries issue. Okay, but we're not going to dwell on that, are we? Let's be clear. Even after EMP concludes the ongoing negotiations with Ibarra and signs an agreement, and hopefully they stick to the agreement this time around and everything else, the fact of the matter is that EMP has to raise substantial amounts of money to develop this mine. And as far as the information we have up to date is concerned, it's only public banks that appears to be interested in financing EMP. The ECOWAS Bank and Consolidated Bank of Ghana are the only ones that our due diligence appears to suggest are currently at the level of commitment in this respect. To the extent that those are public banks, we will continue to have an interest in this affair. That's something I'm putting on the record. So that's number one. Number two, it is true that I'm not called to the bar, I'm not a lawyer and the rest of it. But I think Ghanaian professionals sometimes heavily underestimate the interdisciplinarity of most of the things they do. Everything we've discussed here, law is 20%.
Maybe less.
There's a whole range of political economy issues. There's a whole range of commercial transaction issues. I'm a trained MBA. There are a whole range of other matters in respect of public interest, etc., etc. So for someone to suggest that if you're not a lawyer, I can't debate you and this, I don't think it's correct. Don't worry, Mr. Banson, you'll get your chance. So I think I want to make the
and let's do this briefly because we need to move on to some other issues.
This tendency to think that anything that when there's a legal agreement involved or something, it's only lawyers that can discuss. It's very often the case in this country in public discourse. It's completely wrong. There's so many facets. So that's number two. Number three, when I said to Mr. Banson on Twitter and elsewhere that the $500,000 transfer was problematic, I was on very sure grounds. Why is that? First and foremost, Mr. Banson was not in the context in which these transactions occurred, simply acting as a client, a lawyer for a client. He was a member of the finance committee of the company. And in that regard, he has had to pay himself and other members of the finance committee, etc., as if he was an employee. He has had to act as if he was an employee. In that regard, he was not simply a lawyer for some adversarial party, which is why on 22nd August 2025, the adversaries in this situation now, given the fact that they consider the relationship dissolved, sued in that tribunal in an attempt to remove him from the proceedings on the basis of conflict of interest. That was not something I invented. This is something where in adversarial relations, the other party has seen cause to attack upon. I'm particularly convinced that maybe one of the reasons they withdrew quickly from arbitration and then move on to use this Takashi tactics to take over the company was because they were beginning to see that certain interim relief.
Is it fair to be talking about Takashi
I'll come to that in a minute. I'll come to that
because once they get to the table, it is always a matter of compromise.
I'll come to that in a minute. Go to the
I'll come to that.
Because some of the things he said,
I'll come to Takashi
if I respond, then I'll be disclosing privileged information.
I will come to Takashi in a minute.
Can say it
let him wind up quickly and then I'll finish with you.
Because he raised a lot of issues which are important. So my view of the matter is that in these circumstances where he was in those circumstances, his loyalty was to the company. If the project board had not authorized certain transactions and the likes of it, he cannot go around that and transfer $500,000 into the account of his law firm. When he's in those circumstances, his duty of loyalty is to the company.
So he mentioned something, Bright, which is standard. In fact, we are all required as lawyers and law firms to have clients' accounts.
Good. That client account has nothing to do with this situation because in those circumstances, he was not operating as a lawyer for the company. That's the problem. He was operating as a lawyer for EMP, and he's still a lawyer for EMP. In the context in which he had access to those bank accounts, he was a member of the finance committee of the company.
I'm not a signatory to that bank account.
Yes, but the money went into your account.
I pay myself.
The money went into your account.
I am not a signatory to that. I have never been a signatory.
That point is very clear.
The signatory to the bank account are the directors of the company.
He will put money from Azuma.
He had explained that account. He had explained that his account was holding the money so that the signatories will resolve and then it will revert.
On whose authority did he transfer the money?
I didn't transfer the money, Mr. Simon.
On whose authority did the finance committee member transfer the money to you?
The money was not transferred by a finance committee member, Mr. Simmons. Wait. You are not. Let me explain. Samson, I will do this only for the purposes of educating your public. The agreement that was signed in 2023, had three main pillars. Please give. I didn't want to, but the way he's talking, let me let him know. He had set an agreement for EMP to acquire all the issued shares in the company and debt. It is not only shares. Shares and debt.
And I can confirm this because I have read the agreement.
$400 million.
Okay.
That was the first pillar. The second pillar, so let me go. The first pillar, I will explain it.
Okay.
The first payment was $50 million. The second payment is another $50 million. Up to the first payment was to be made in 2024. The second payment is to be made in 2026. This $100 million is to pay only debt and equity. Now, because the first payment will be made in 2024, the second payment will be made in 2026. The parties agreed that we cannot leave the tenement lying down until the payment is made. What do? In the meantime, we have to look for money to develop the mine. So between 2024 and 2026, the mine was expected to be developed. Okay. Now the second pillar was that EMP will be solely responsible.
Relevant.
Sorry?
I'm not sure why this one.
I'm coming to explain to you the documents of the finance committee.
Operating as a lawyer for the company.
Mr. Simmons,
that money to a client account is irrelevant.
Let me explain.
Hold on.
I'm explaining.
Quickly concentrate here and finish because
I'm explaining the finance
need to end this discussion.
The finance committee.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I have
you said I'm a member of the finance committee and I was paying myself.
Go ahead.
EMP, the second time, was responsible for raising the funding to develop develop the project. To develop, not to buy the shares. To develop the project. The cost of the funding, as stated in the agreement, was between $150 million and $160 million. Now, in raising the funding, the agreement stated that even though EMP will go and look for the funding, the Australians would guarantee the funding. So the agreement says that the funding will be raised by EMP on the books of the Australians. That's what is in the agreement.
On the books doesn't mean guarantee, but that's another conversation.
That is what the agreement stated. Now, EMP will raise the funding, but the funding is to be raised in the name of Azuma, because Azuma is the benefit for the 2-year period. Now, the parties agreed in the agreement that there will be what is called a finance committee that will be responsible for raising the funds, which is the sole responsibility of EMP.
Right.
So EMP, per the agreement, was to constitute the finance committee. Because this
is a fundraising, we understand.
Yeah, this is a fundraising.
The minerals income investment wanted to bring in some money and you rejected.
Exactly.
That you didn't want government
any
to be
political.
involved. Okay, go ahead.
Now, this finance committee was per the agreement to be constituted by EMP.
But for the company.
That is what I'm saying.
Finish.
That it will be raised in the name of the company.
We need to do this quick.
But it is EMP's responsibility.
Right. All I'm saying is that the finance committee.
No, you make a statement.
Right, just a second. I'll come to you. Right.
The agreement stated that EMP will constitute the finance committee.
Okay.
After the main agreement was signed in 2023, the first meeting of the board was to confirm the membership of the finance committee, which has, of course, it is EMP that is constituted. So EMP would have its people there. Now, they needed a lawyer, of course, because you're going to do finance raising. So I was put there on the finance committee. The board of Azuma, in one of their first meetings, ratified all the members of the finance committee and then ratified their allowances to be paid to them.
Meaning they approved.
They approved.
Ratified.
They approved.
Okay.
Now, EMP was supposed to fund the monthly operations of the mine, as it were. I'm using the word.
Which you say was funding monthly by how much?
By averagely $500,000 a month.
Okay, go ahead.
From that time.
Yeah.
Now, the monies that EMP would be paying into to fund, for the purposes of knowing that this money was paid by EMP, and it is for this purpose, again, the board of Azuma approved, I was going to say, passed the resolution that a bank account will be opened at EcoBank, where all the payments from EMP would be put into. That we know that every month, whether you've paid your money, you've not paid, so we will not mix it with the other funds belonging to the business. Now, the board of Azuma approved the mandate to this EcoBank account and said this EcoBank account, we are going to have two signatories. One will be A, because of privilege, I don't want to mention their name. One will be Mr. B. Now, Mr. A and Mr. B were members of the board of Azuma. They are the sole signatories of that account.
They were EMP representatives. That's Mr. Nana Jonebemo and Noelado. Of course, I know. I've read everything.
I have never been a signatory to that.
So I don't know why we went all this.
Because you said I was paying myself.
You said I was paying myself.
So I was trying to let you know that at no point in time was it that the payment from this account to the finance committee was without approval of the whole Azuma board.
Okay.
At no point in time did I, Bobby Bansi...
So now I understand where Bright is coming, because he is impeaching the said Azuma representation on that committee.
All. So let me continue.
Or the Azuma board.
It was a board approval.
Yeah, I get it, but he's impeaching them. You know, it's okay.
The information we have seen, the point is made. The information we have seen is that the EMP representatives on the board who were signatories to that account because it was a EMP requirement, but still in the name of the company. So they are still acting loyalty to the company. Nana Bono, Bene, and Noelado, they were the ones who were signatories to the account. So effectively, they transferred the money. But they transferred the money to Robert Smith Law Group, which has no relation whatsoever in this context in relation to a client.
Was the money brought back? Do you know? Did they tell you whether the money was brought back?
Come back. You have said that it was returned.
So I can share that
without even a single.
I can share that.
That's a difference of opinion.
Right.
My point is that at that moment there was no attorney-client mechanism arrangement in this place. It was simply a fact that in their minds, your loyalty to should have been to the company. So that's all. So that 500,000,
which company?
Well,
the thing is that you deny.
Right. So
you deny that claim.
If
EMP appointed me to the finance committee
whilst you were a lawyer
for EMP,
right. Okay.
How do you tell me
and
that
you
my
say
lawyer
by the agreement it was EMP that was to set up that committee?
And then pay the committee members.
It was EMP to pay that committee account. The account was an Azuma Ghana account.
Because EMP had to account the monies they have paid towards tax purposes. It could not have been direct from EMP to everybody.
Okay, thank you.
You've made your point. Let me just make my point.
Right.
And then
these are factual matters.
Let the viewers judge.
All right.
So as far as I'm concerned, you were brought on the Zuma Ghana system as somebody whose duty of loyalty was to that entity. Any movement of funds that was not authorized by the majority shareholders and which they have used as a basis to claim that you had a conflict of interest, it's a public interest. And that is what I have reported. If you disagree or whatever it is, that's your opinion. But you cannot make the argument that what I said was somehow concocted when they themselves have found very expensive.
So what it is that you rebutted that. You rebutted that.
There's an important point he's refusing to admit.
Oh Jesus!
Was the $500,000 brought back after the signatories matter was resolved? Ask him. Ask him whether he can confirm whether they told you that.
Do you know that as a matter of fact?
No. What I'm trying to explain.
Can we just clear that?
Do you know that or you don't know? It was sent on 18th November 2024.
There are a lot of issues regarding this EcoBank account.
Okay.
And funds spent in that account that have not been accounted for. Basically, money that was supposed to fund Azuma resources. The current accusation is that money was funding EMP. So let's not go there. Let's leave that there.
All right. So
my key issue is very simple.
Quickly.
The ultimate beneficial owner of a company is the person to whom the economic benefits accrue.
Correct.
And on top of that, the person who has control of the company.
Yes.
My argument
These
is
are
that
the people they have dealt with.
No, they have not dealt with them. The person they have dealt with is Hector Nyinaku. Now, Hector Nyinaku, who was listed as the beneficial owner, who has transferred the shares to them, is not the ultimate beneficial owner. He does not own the shares, because when you look at the actual ownership of the shares, the two companies that he's dealing with now, Azuma Australia and IGIC or IGIC, those companies who own the shares are the true ultimate beneficial owners. The only reason why Hector Nyinaku became listed as the beneficial owner
in 2014
because of administrative oversight. Because if you look at it now, I have the evidence now. Can I show something quickly? The current transfer to EMP, it still shows Hector Nyinaku as the beneficial owner. So it tells you that unless he now accepts that Hector Nyinaku owns the company and not EMP, that is a simple administrative oversight.
Are you saying that you have evidence that in 2014, when Hector Nyinaku was listed, he was subsequently sort of delisted?
Nyinaku was just secretary. He was not a director of the company.
As beneficial
you have
owner.
said that he was listed as beneficial owner.
I'm trying to explain that the beneficial ownership thing, because he was the one responsible for managing it, it was up to Hector Nyinaku to ensure that the right beneficial owner was listed.
All right.
Now, what has happened now is that they've taken the company from Hector Nyinaku.
Okay.
Not from Ibaira.
Right.
Not from the people that they are currently negotiating.
Right.
If they are taking it from the right people, they wouldn't be still negotiating with them, would they?
He says the continuing negotiation is not contrary to what the announcement they have made.
Because he's suggesting that those people are only creditors. They are not only creditors.
I have not said that.
Those people.
See, that is why I said I don't want to say things for him to
I understand your difficulty. I understand your difficulty.
Yes, but hold on. That if we own the viewers in education.
That's right.
The people that own the mine are Ibaira.
All right.
Everywhere you go, you end up with Ibaira.
Right.
Ibaira is not the one that has transferred the shares to EMP.
Okay.
There's absolutely no doubt.
Yeah.
So the people who have transferred the shares to EMP is Hector Nyinaku, who was secretary to the company and does not own any shares and has never been an economic controller or a legal controller of the company. That is why I made the tweet I did, and which is why I sparked the controversy that I did. It was a valid controversy.
Okay. Now, and I need to end on a clean sheet. Does what Azuma is saying still hold? That they are going to the International Court of Arbitration and this must cost Ghana in excess of 1 billion? Yes, I'm asking you, Bright.
Well,
what do you know?
What I know for sure is that EMP sent the matter to arbitration demanding specific performance. Now the agreement will continue. Yes, I know.
This is 8th of
Yes, I'm trying to explain that in a few minutes. Give me a few seconds. So EMP took the matter to arbitration for specific performance, meaning that the agreement as it was will continue. EMP has withdrawn that arbitration and has acquired the shares from Hector Nyinaku. That's where we are now. The threat to demand interim reliefs and also pursue the counterclaim for $1 billion. And if they think the Ghanaians are involved and the rest of it, then to find the right nexus for potential bilateral investment treaty claim. All those matters are subject to Mr. Benson here successfully closing a deal with these people as early as possible.
And that's what they are likely to get.
That is what they are doing. But they should be careful because the $100 million payment or whatever it is to close the matter does not end for 2 reasons. Does not end the matter for 2 reasons.
All right.
They still have to raise money to fund the mine.
Okay.
And if they keep entangling themselves in warfare with public activists and the likes of it, they are not going to be able to raise the money to fund that mine, which will damage Ghana's interest.
Thank you.
Our interest for that people of Upper West to get jobs.
Thank you.
For taxes to be paid from that asset.
Thank you, Bright.
And that's where our public interest lies.
You are hopeful that the ongoing process, which you are leaving here to continue, will end this tug of war.
I'm very confident.
So that what EMP has sought to do over the period is complete acquisition, pursuant to the agreements, and to take complete control and develop the 2 projects. Will happen.
Yeah, it will happen.
Okay.
But I want to end on this note. Right. Mr. Simmons, I'm telling you for a fact, EMP will never struggle to develop this mine. I don't know what your source is. I can tell you as well, maybe
we hope for the
information.
We hope for the best.
Thank you.
Can I finish?
All right.
No, something. He makes categorical statements.
You are making the point. You are inviting him in.
No.
I need to go. I need to cut you right now.
He's saying that EMP has approached only public companies and public companies
are the only ones who have shown commitment.
That is not true, Mr. Simon. Who ever told you? And that is what I'm telling you. That most of the things they tell you are hearsay.
Thank you, gentlemen.
It is not
Brad Simmons, Honorary Counsel, Imani Africa, and Bobby Benson, who is lawyer for EMP, joining us on this discussion. We will be right back with my next set of guests joining Brad Simmons to look at 3 major issues under the president's encounter with the press. No declaration of emergency. He says he's reluctant to declare a state of emergency to fight Galamsey. The guys in that front are outraged. They are completely unhappy. His answer to Kojo Yankson, which suggested that even what we are gaining could include, through a lot of the export we have done with small-scale gold produced, could include illegal gold. People are livid about that. And Operation Recover All Loots. Fifi Kwete hinted at an NDC lawyers meeting that some officials are seeking to compromise the process because they are cutting deals with the so-called looters. You hear the president's response, and is there a crackdown on hate speech, with the president saying Signals Bureau has been unleashed to identify those who are doing this and to deal with them. We'll be right back.
Still, Misaka, and Nemu was a summer brabo, and it can afford Swabrabo.
Misaka pensions, Carol.
Misaka order Sika.
Misaka insurance.
Misaka loan.
Momo Fogusuri ye echumaden, the aboye nyina ye sika humpain. Se MTN, ana momo jumayeni befrewa, or the 0244 300,000 ene befrew. Nenumpo orim bitsaw one-time password, ana se upin code. Enti wonso ye wa femu die na ma weni na ho na wonsa enka omumu.
For decades, we have helped businesses connect with their trade partners all over the globe. From Ghana to Burkina Faso, Côte d'Ivoire, Benin, Togo, Senegal, China, Morocco, France, Netherlands, and many other countries. We have made it possible to bring Ghana to the world. We have brought small and medium businesses closer to their customers across the regions in Ghana with our SME support facilities. We have brought relief and smiles to the faces of families with our employee personal loans. With our cutting-edge technology and digital support, we take the burden of complex thinking off you, making life simple. That is who we are, as close as a partner. Bank of Africa. We are indeed the African bank with the global reach.
Announcing Ghana's first unlimited photocopier leasing. Yes, from just 983 Ghana cedis, you can lease a multifunctional photocopier and print unlimited. Yes, unlimited and free paper every month. Guess what? That's not all. Toners, repairs, and maintenance all are free. And oh, I'm not kidding at all. And we cover the whole country. Yes, the whole country. What are you waiting for? Just visit us at www.valexlease.com or call 0244 644048. Remember, terms and conditions apply. Valexlease, affordable document management solutions.
Welcome to Tropical Cable and Conductor Limited. We are a proudly 100% Ghanaian-owned cable manufacturer with over 28 years of experience, trusted by construction, mining, and real estate experts across Africa. Tropical Cable, wired for Ghana. Tropical Cable, top papa record.
As a young mom, you're not always sure that you're doing it right. Choosing a baby care product for your child can sometimes be difficult. I choose BabyMed hypoallergenic skincare products, specially formulated to suit my baby's fragile and sensitive skin. A complete range of products that makes every bath time a moment of tenderness and well-being. BabyMed, baby-specific care products.
Smile, Look lively, okay? Smile, smile. Is the money too small?
A bad stomach ruins your day. Don't let it. Take Gastron, your most effective antacid, for the relief of symptoms of peptic ulcer, heartburn, gas pain, flatulence, and indigestion.
Hey guys, what are you waiting for? Let's go, let's go.
Mwah. Can you bring down the smiles more?
Gastron, effective relief from stomach discomfort. Manufactured and distributed by NS Chemist Limited. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
The police invited him on Monday, the 8th of September. He responded to the invitation by the police, went with his lawyers, submitted himself to interrogations. Within an hour of interrogations, he was whisked into NIB custody. The question is, why would the police
investigating a matter and has its own police cells decide to send a citizen who is being investigated on a matter which is a misdemeanor into NIB custody. It must be stated that our checks at the NIB confirms that the NIB is not interrogating Abronye, neither are they investigating him. According to the NIB, they are only recipients of the man Abronye. In other words, the police sent him there that they should keep him. That is why they received him. But they are not the ones who are investigating. So the question is, why would Ghana Police Service claim to be investigating a person and rather decide to send him to NIB cells? Is it to punish him or what? Then they kept him the whole of Monday night and Tuesday morning, being the 9th. He was brought to court. When they brought him to court, the police insisted that they still needed him for further investigation. Therefore, they want him to be remanded into lawful custody. Of course, the judge upheld the application and remanded Abronye to be brought to court today. Now, the sad part of it is that when he left court, the police handcuffed him.
Have a new crop of I'll call them new journalists, who anybody with a phone and a camera can report news or comments on national issues. Now the point is, who holds those people responsible? And that's what he's saying. If you go to some of the WhatsApp platforms, or you go to some of the commentaries in the TikToks and others, we have what we call hate speech, incitement to violence. Those are criminal. Despite the fact that we have removed the criminal libel laws, there are some laws that make such people accountable. Because if we don't regulate that sector, it can lead this nation to war. There are some of the incendiary statements that have been made in the Boko situation that are fueling some of what is happening there, making people hate each other and see each other as enemies. It's been the same in the Gonja Brefo thing. Some people fanning and inciting violence against each other. This falls in the ambit of the National Signals Bureau. And so the National Signals Bureau now has the technology to use your IP number and find you wherever you are. So I'm sending a signal to Ghanaians that we can find you those doing those hate speech and things. We'll use your IP number, we'll trace you. And when we trace you, we'll deal with you under the criminal code for inciting violence and disturbance of the peace. But I believe that beyond that...
Right. So you heard the president at the media press that he had with the media. And it's a matter that is very concerning, isn't it? That in recent times, there are people who are hiding behind, the anonymity sort of that social media provides. And they say just anything at all and get away with it. And he says this is wrong, particularly those, the questioner asked about hate speech, that people are using this, causing tribal, ethnic confusion, which can actually destabilize the country. And he said, Signals Bureau is working on that. They will use your IP addresses to track you down and deal with you under the law. Should we be happy or we should be concerned about the president's statement, coming at a time when TikTokers have been dealt with for some of the, call them the incendiary comments. People are threatening death and harm, left, right, center. And now Abronya is also denied bail after how many days now? He's done almost a week or more in detention. And people are livid about why he should not be granted bail so that he defends his case. After all, he pleaded that he's not guilty to the comments that he made. Right. So let me begin with Yusuf Seni. Yes. Should we be worried or we should be happy that the president is going to lead us to stop a culture that is beginning to breed danger for our country?
Thank you, Samson. And let me agree. Who say, like F1? Good.
It's Jose.
Okay. And then Bright, and not Bright. Bright Simons, yes.
Miracles and Bright.
Right. And Miracles, we've spoken. He's my friend, but on the other side.
You trained me, so I'm just simply following
of a different matter.
I'm following the manual.
That's a nice.
Yes, I saw it. He didn't look like Dr. Bawumia until he said that was.
He's not the one.
The Gen Zs call it the mural.
The mural.
You will say it. The Gen Zs will say it.
Be careful about the spectacle and how it is shaped. It can be misconstrued at another person.
So today I've been probing, shirts as well. So that's Bawumia, the man who represents ideas, and that's Madiba.
Madiba, yeah.
Nelson Mandela. And as I probed, I realized that actually this shirt was given to Bright by the States, South Africa. Okay, let's hear you.
So in fact, the president is not saying anything new. In or around the year 2020, we met and looked at the cybersecurity zone, and we looked at the activities that were coming out, new media, and how that could challenge the traditional notions of responsibility. And so how do you deal with people who exploit the opportunities granted them in the new media, malign, use hate speech, and all those things which really, if it were in the traditional media, you'll be able to hold them responsible. So now, and this debate is not only limited to Ghana. Recently, the United Kingdom, there was talk about a trolling of a footballer who had missed a penalty, and the footballer almost nearly committed suicide. He said that he wouldn't take future penalties, and the discussion was that, well, so if it's the social media that is being used to troll the player, who has the responsibility to ensure that that doesn't happen? There was some consensus, unanimity, that those who own the platform, they should have that responsibility, and that they need to develop regulations to ensure that people don't misuse that platform. The same thing, Samson, I heard you complaining one day when after your distance, somebody wrote something that was totally not correct. Totally. But he had already published that. You wouldn't reach. You only exercise your right to to counter what he has said. But probably many people who read what he wrote and not reading what you subsequently wrote will walk away with those notions about you, which were totally untrue. And sometimes I sit on this platform and say things, and I go and read things that somebody has written, and you want to check the byline. Who is that person? The Marvelous TV. Who is that Marvelous TV? Who is that? Who is behind it? And totally different. Totally different. That's what Donald Trump calls fake news. How do we deal with fake news? So what the president is saying, and let me back roll small. You remember Rwanda? Rwanda was even the use of a traditional media. Somebody went and sat on radio and called a group of people cockroaches. And what do you do with cockroaches? You exterminate them. And so many of those guys Many of the Hutus were killed. That was irresponsible for somebody to do that, to use public media to do such a thing. It's the same thing. We need to find a way to balance the need for people to exercise their right to speech, freedom of speech, as captured in chapter 5 of the Constitution, and also balance that with the requirements of responsibility, taking responsibility for what a person has said and holding people accountable for what they have said.
Sam George has been talking about a law that is being made in this regard. We don't know about it yet, so we don't know what is contained in there. I don't know what you know, that like elsewhere, the way they are doing it, it is the owner of the platforms that they are punishing for these hate speeches. Is that what we are seeking to do? Because I know also that in our national security strategy document, hate speech has been flagged as a national security issue.
Yes. No, and even not only in Ghana, everywhere, hate speech. And you know, that can be really, really debilitating. I mean, that can be sapping. I mean, if somebody says something about you, and I experienced that at first hand when I said something about, and the way I was attacked, regardless of what I meant, clearly undermines the freedom of expression. And so the people who say those things must be held responsible. Now, how Sam George is conceiving that, I don't yet know. But what I can tell you is that when the draft of the law is finally made available, all of us will input and ensure that we deal with this emerging phenomenon. Nobody should have the right to sit in the corner of his room and create content meant for public consumption without any iota of responsibility. People must have responsibility. They must be responsible for what they have said. We must be able to hold them. If you want to create a civilized, sane society, people should be responsible.
But how do you marry that with our constitutional dispensation of the freedom guaranteed to speak your mind?
Within the limits of the law. The constitutional guarantee says within the limits of the law. I mean, you've forgotten that caveat at the end of chapter 5. Within the limits of the law.
Even in chapter 6 itself. The chapter 6 is very clear about the duties of us as citizens. While chapter 5 right from start gives us the freedom the right to freedom of speech. Chapter 6 itself reminds us to respect the rights, freedoms, and legitimate interests of others. And generally to refrain from doing acts detrimental to the welfare of other persons. It tells us to foster national unity and live in harmony with others. So there are also constraints on us relative to the freedoms we have to speak and what we say. There are going to be quite some complexity. There's definitely going to be a philosophical, fine line on how we define an overreach also by government. We've taken time as a country to really fight issues around criminal libel, where states abuse that power to suppress our rights to also speak. How do we find that balance will require proper national debate. And I hope Sam George or whoever it is spearheading that will not be driven by the energy of the politics, but would actually create a very open forum for proper debate and structure to this. You take platforms today. Bright Simmons does not really need to actually own a platform registered Ghana. He can actually be anywhere. And once people have access to that content, that person can promote whatever they want to promote. So even enforcing itself will also create another challenge.
Yeah.
So there's a certain balance, but I just pray that government will not take advantage of this and actually end up suppressing the rights of people. So we must create a forum for healthy, open, honest national debate and discussions on how to structure
I return to you with a specific question. But Bright, because we are talking about this at a time when Abronya is going through what he's going through, recently the TikTokers, were charged under these same laws. Just a year ago, there was this other guy who had said things about the IGP, made some of these comments. He got a 4-year jail term, as we understand. But the George Orwell that this judge quotes also said, if liberty means anything at all, it means the right to tell people what they do not want to hear.
As someone who has very enthusiastically embraced new media, obviously I'm concerned, Let me say that it's trivially true that you can't shout fire in a crowded theater. Everyone knows that, right? My concern in this country is that often the trajectory between politics, policy, and law is fractured. It's what I call catanomics, right? Normally in societies that are, matured in these matters, we identify problems through politics. People talk about it, complain, there's agitation, there's whatever. And then people that are less prone to passion, less driven by sentiment, less moved by the fashion, those people deliberate on policy. And then when policy is in place and it's being tested and we have a sense of what we are trying to do as a society and it's crystallized, then you have law. We tend to mix it up all the time. Start with the law, then we are not able to enforce the law, then we try to develop a policies context, and then the policy is a mess, and then we come back to politics. That confusion of the trajectory between politics to policy and then finally to law is one of our biggest problems. Let me explain this in this context of harmful speech. Harmful speech is a spectrum. We have speech, for instance, that is hate speech. Hate speech is not the same as any other kind of harmful speech. It must be focused on a particularly identifiable group. It must be geared towards discrimination of that group. So a group could be gender-based, it could be racially based, it could be ethnic-based, etc. If the speech is intended to foster discrimination against that group, that's hate speech. And that's not whether it's true, whether what you say is true. If you are basically speaking in such a manner that people feel that Gas, Ewes, Asantes, white people, or whatever are deserving of discrimination, you are doing hate speech. That's not the same thing as incitement.
That's true.
Where you are trying to, in effect, provoke violent expression. You are trying to do things that will get people to act in ways that are violent and for which often there are national security implications, and therefore the police must be up and doing, because if they don't act quickly, something could degenerate.
But speech that incites violence, stirs ethnic or religious animosity and tension, or threatens public peace is hate speech.
Not necessarily. Hate speech is only if there's identifiable groups that you are targeting. When it comes to incitement, it's another set of issues. Often also, incitement is very transitory. We can just remove you, stop you from saying what you are saying, and diffuse the situation, and things are fine. It's not all the time that incitement lives on. Hate speech often lives on. You go on radio and you systematically dehumanize, gar people consistently over time. It doesn't matter that what you did dissipates. It lives on in the subconscious of people, and that has an effect. There is defamation, which has nothing to do with groups, and nothing to do necessarily with national harmony and cohesion. It has personal reputational issues.
That's right.
There is harassment, verbal harassment, which often does not necessarily require proof that that person has been harmed in any substantial way. But if that harassment creates conditions in which the person feels as if, they cannot continue to operate as they would ordinarily operate, then you are still harassing them and they have issues. Here's my concern. We have not thoughtfully thought through all these different dynamics, decided on what we want to do with incitement per se, hate speech per se, etc., verbal harassment, bullying, etc., created that matrix thoughtfully, attempted to implement it through existing law, learned where there are gaps, and then decided what a new law will achieve. We've not done it. And this is how we do everything in this country. Think of it carefully. In every contest, we start like this. There's agitation before realize there's a new law. And then after a couple of years, we abandon the law. There are laws in this country around littering.
Yeah.
Massive laws around littering.
Yeah.
In 2015, some people got up and said we should now introduce criminal penalties for littering because the fines are not substantively effective. What have we done with the existing laws on municipal bylaws, Public Health Act, etc., etc.?
That's right.
To get us to the position where you can introduce criminal penalties for littering. And I think we have to start reordering the way we organize public affairs in this country very carefully. Start with clarity around policy. What are we trying to achieve in the different areas of harmful speech? Where is it that the existing law is not sufficient, etc.? What is it that we can do to implement current law more effectively against verbal harassment and things like that? And then, when you are convinced that you need new law, you have a gaps analysis, you have a need analysis, and you plug in the new law. Last point I'll make is that we tend also to privilege the sensibilities and the interests of the powerful. If Mr. Abronye had gone after me, or somebody else had gone after me repeatedly over several years, I doubt that this action would have been taken. I think it's because he started to target senior members of the security services. We should not introduce law that simply makes life comfortable for the powerful. We have to create laws that target the majority. In this country, the biggest problem we have in the area of harmful speech is not the occasional incitement or whatever. We don't have that much of that. What we do have is a huge problem with verbal harassment, with bullying, cyberbullying, etc. And how we deal with that is going to be very difficult because even in countries that have a traditional tendency to look at these things in much greater detail, they are struggling to handle cyberbullying. Last point I'll make is, I think the president was overly focused on law enforcement when he talked about, National Signals Bureau and things like that, right? But a lot of these instances, you cannot use law enforcement primarily to discharge the obligation. Mass cyberbullying. Is National Signals Bureau going to start tracking everyone who abuses people with anonymous accounts on Facebook? Not possible. So in those circumstances, you have to think about moderation. And is it moderation done by Ghana? No, we have the moderation done by the platforms. And there are countries that are at the forefront of how to handle that kind of moderation. Some have gone to the extreme, like China and the rest, where your comment will just disappear. Maybe that's not where we want to go. We want the kind of moderation that is balanced. But we have to do it in an open manner. If you're going to get Facebook, Twitter, and the rest, because we remember that towards the election, it was evident that somebody was working with the platforms to freeze accounts, to suspend accounts. As soon as you say something, your account is suspended. It was not open, it was not transparent, it was not policy-driven.
Was yours suspended?
Mine was never suspended, but there were a couple of very prominent people who, I think H. Prempe, suffered that repeatedly.
Yeah.
So what was going on was definitely that somebody was, I don't know who was acting. So my view of the matter would be that we have to be transparent about these things, publish the white paper, publish the blue paper, let there be debate, structure it, and then let's test these things in law finally.
So in September 2024, when Mohammed Ibrahim, Sotum, one of the NDC's organizers in Sotum, made the comments on social media, Facebook, X, and TikTok, the police said that he had said in the video that the Ghana Police Service in the Ashanti region, under the direction of the Inspector General of Police, Dr. Akufo Dampare, and the Minister for the Interior, Henry Korte, were recruiting fake police personnel to kill citizens of Ghana during the December 7 elections. This is what he got prosecuted for and jailed 4 years.
So
is it high-handedness?
You see, when it comes to falsity of news and the rest of it, those of us in this industry have to be very careful. Because there are times when, despite diligence, despite real diligence, the information you have can be counted by someone as false in one direction or the other. That is why I go back to a framework of harmful speech. Was this publication likely to endanger the peace? Remember that when you look at the criminal law and the way it's structured, it's very, very specific. It breaches conduct conducive to breach of the peace, offensive conduct in different directions. Right. There are concerns around publishing of fake news or false news.
To create false and alarm.
To create fear and alarm.
Fear and alarm.
To create fear and alarm. So those elements and the rest are defined in common law, right? But I don't think we have a sufficiently developed jurisprudence in this area. That's one of my fears. So it gets to a point where even when you look at the jurisprudence that the judges have given to us, it's not always clear what are the thresholds. What is the threshold for a kind of publication that will engender fear and alarm? Is that an empirical point? Is it post-ante? Is it that when I did it, certain things happened, and the police have evidence that because of this, I probably say
the law says
alarm.
Likely to, so there's a potential
I know,
to.
But then that potential to, is it judge ex ante or is it judge post ante? Because there are judges who would say that, no, I want to see what was the effect, to see whether it was likely to. That's right. Because of intent, because of what you lawyers call menstrual, right? So my argument is that the construction of the proceedings, the
law itself is problematic.
It's not problematic. It's the way the jurisprudence that we have doesn't give clarity.
Okay.
So we need to have clarity.
The direct question to you, and I move on to Dennis, even though Yunusa has his hand up, so maybe I'll hear him quickly before, is that in the circumstance of this man, Mohammed Ibrahim,
yes,
would you say that this was high-handedness? That he's on Facebook, he's on TikTok, and he's saying that the Ashanti Region Police, under the direction of the IGP and Interior Minister Henry Kote, were recruiting, fake police people to kill people during the elections? Should he have been dealt with by the law in the manner he was dealt with? Or
I think it's totally responsible speech. But my concern is whether we have the absolute clarity of the likelihood of harm.
Yeah, so my question is, what do you do to that irresponsible speech?
I think, first of all, we have to be able to gauge harm. What will be the likely effect of this? And what happened? I think that should be our starting point. My view is that a lot of the irresponsible speech we see doesn't really lead to much harm.
What he said was false. Shouldn't matter.
It is true that it's false, and that is a problem.
Okay, and I would therefore was dangerous.
Yes, I will not have a problem. I will not have a problem.
That gauging is there.
Yes.
Right, so let's just get straight.
Yeah, but
we are running into an election.
Yes.
And you start saying this. It's a very dangerous thing.
I agree.
It's something that can actually create chaos in this country over our elections.
I agree.
Turn us into some civil war unnecessarily.
I agree.
Over a certain suspicion like the First World War.
I agree. But my point is that whether that scope of harm, you need the kind of blunderbuss approach to cure it. It's not what I'm not clear.
Okay, so what do you want to say, Inusa? And in addition to what Bright was saying about the way we look at who is saying what, okay, so that if somebody said things about Bright, the state will ignore. But if it is said about the IGP or somebody of the sort or minister, then we'll pay attention. So
selective enforcement.
Selective enforcement, and that's how power is structured. Also
true.
We can't run away from that.
True.
That's how power is structured.
But we have to be sensitive to it.
Have it.
Exercise and demonstrate it.
That's how it is. Now, so as a developing country,
they don't just demonstrate. They are required
to do that.
Sorry, what do you say?
So those who hold power are required to demonstrate that power, to manifest that power.
I'm not sure that is something we can assume.
Okay, make your point quickly.
So my point is that Bright is talking about two things. Law originating or arising from customary practices or practices pertinent to a society that culminates into a form of standards for the regulation of human conduct within the society. That is typically common law. That's typically common law. And only societies that emerged during those times, during the feudal times, created that system. New societies like us can only find that system within our customary law. And that's why in Article 11, you find that customary law.
What I was saying was different, but
so that is it. You talk about practices and what?
No, policy. Mine was not about practices.
The constitution.
Law itself is policy.
So the constitution is that. So again, the second thing is that the constitution itself makes it mandatory that if you are bringing a law into the country, that's Article 106. That law must be accompanied with an explanatory memorandum setting out in detail the policy and principles of the bill, the defects in the existing law, the remedies proposed to deal with those defects, and the necessity for the introduction.
That's parliamentary practice.
No, that's the law. That's how the law is. You can't just introduce a law.
No, it sits in parliament. Most of these things sit in parliament.
No, it's a requirement.
I'm talking about practice.
It was supposed to be a quick intervention because you had finished making your statement. Dennis, and I needed you guys to tell me.
Yeah.
Before I go to Dennis. So, have you heard what Abronye is reported to have said?
I have, because of this show, I'm taking the time to hear it. What I saw that seemed particularly worrying or alarming is this claim that the IGP was part of the NDC's strategic team for the Akutia election. That is the one that I saw.
He attended meetings.
and things like that. So that is the one I heard that was
claims
I don't know anything else that he said.
He being corrupt and having received some
money. But that would be defamation.
Correct.
Yeah. I would be completely worried if he'd been arrested on the basis of defamation. Because civil defamation.
So once again, I'm asking you, do you condemn that as irresponsible speech as you have done for the earlier one? And how do you want that to be dealt with?
I think Mr. Abronye is an easy target because of the way he postures. It's easy for people to condemn him and things like that. We have to go way beyond that because this is a specific incident. We have to think about general principles. So it's easy for me to say that, of course, everything he said was irresponsible and that he's fond of that, etc., etc., etc. Because let's be honest, all of the four of us sitting here, we belong to a different class, social class than Mr. Abronye. It's very obvious from the way he speaks and everything else that he doesn't belong to the same social class as the four of us here. So it's easy for us then to be...
It's not that we are higher or lower.
No, it's a different social class. And that means, therefore, that he communicates with a different group of people.
You don't chat with that,
he discusses most of these things. Have you invited him to this show? You've never invited him to this show.
Because
there's probably a reason why you've
this show will not invite him.
So what I'm saying is that he's an easy target. It's easy for you to condemn the things he does. The more pernicious, the more difficult situations are when very prominent people of extreme social standing, do similar things in a different guise.
Okay.
That's why general principles are very important.
Yeah, so how would you want a comment like that to be dealt with?
Abronye was even sacked from Wuntobi TV because of the way because of his effusions. And he created his own media platform.
Oh, here TV. I support him on that one.
So it's not only you who,
he hasn't got money, so he said that people
and replace the people who appear on your show. Even the TV station that is aligned to his party decided to let him go.
Like that could have been factions. It could also be that he supports a different faction.
No. From the way he spoke.
But look, let's face it.
And I think that
if these reports from your defamation and now IGP, and I think we've created too much drama over this matter. There's some action that could be taken.
Explain. The
Akutia matter is the important one because that would actually could easily have disturbed the peace. But defamation, I don't think
he
so.
says something that's not true. You rebut it.
My brother, do you know the number of things that I said that's not true about you and me?
You rebut it and say, I hear plenty stuff. I hear plenty stuff that's said about me that's absolutely rubbish.
Yes.
Not true. That I ignore. I can afford to ignore. I don't know about the IGP. But when he says that, can't you rebut it and let it end there?
Exactly what I'm saying. Thank you.
No, the man, he must be responsible for his words.
No, nobody takes that from anyone. That everybody must be responsible for their words.
Yes,
but it's a bit of an overreach.
But that is why the jurisprudence
could have been brought. This allegation is false. If he persists, you could have just warned him. You don't now arrest the whole judicial system, the whole police system, only because of this. What he said was irresponsible, was reckless, should be condemned by his own party people.
But we shouldn't, by what we are saying
in this country for over a week.
We shouldn't, by what we are saying here, promote impunity.
No, I don't disagree with you. We are aligned on that.
Honorable Nusaf Seni, Bright had just spoken about we pay attention to who is talking about who. Before the Akutia election, you heard Anyagba, right?
Richard
Anyagba. He is communications director for the party, right? You heard him say that he held a press conference actually to say that there was recruitment of fake police for the purpose. How different is this? Who went after him?
That is more dangerous than this one.
Who went after him?
So Anyagba.
We called him, we asked him for the evidence. He said that was his intelligence. He wouldn't share it.
Yeah, that's Anyagba. Probably he's not known for saying those things. And one statement of that nature would not attract the attention of the police to go after him. Probably if he develops the habit or spewing false information. I mean, they need to, maybe, I mean, after he said that, many people would have called him and say, look, these are not the matters a communication director should say.
But the crime has been committed if it was a crime, whether it's the first time or not, and he did that publicly. So I mean, we all agree that the man was wrong, but I think that it was really.
So if he was wrong, we pat his back and say,
no, you should condemn it and should deal him and warn him. But to address our judicial system and our police system.
So what he said, from where you sit, but something we need to be clear that while you could say it's false because he has not provided the evidence, if he has any yet, how does he breach the peace? So he's facing these two charges. Exactly. What do you say?
So this is somebody who created his own platform. Went onto the platform and spewed gibberish. It's absolute gibberish. I will not tolerate that. And a sane society, a society that is civilized, a society that wants order, law and order, should not tolerate that.
You don't have the same sense of morality. That's up to you. Leave him alone.
At the fringes of the law, heart tells you, at the fringes of the law is morality.
But you know, the consequentialism...
So what are you talking about? So if you say something which is morally wrong, the law says that morality in that law, which can trigger disturbances in society and disturb the peace of the people, you must be held responsible.
Let me hear Miracles, and then we come about how the judge has come under a lot of criticism. Then after that, we'll take a break and return to the next issue. Yes, Miracles.
I don't know why we are being very academic and making it even sound as if there's something rational going on with our situation. It's pure political wisdom. It's a strategy. I beg you. I deliberately refuse to participate in the earlier debate.
So, quick, you say it's pure political witch hunt.
Yes. And you see, the president cannot cultivate multiple Kevin Taylors. Water them, watch them grow, benefit from them. And then when he comes to power and the fruits are bearing, and we want to help him pluck the fruit and give him to him to taste, he says, no, all of a sudden I want to cut it.
Are you suggesting you are behind that brown? Yes,
I beg you. I mean, if I am, I will say it. Let me make it. I'll have no shame because the president has shown the way.
The question to him is if two wrongs make a right. That's
I'll come to that. You let me flow.
Yeah.
So you cannot cultivate and plant multiple Calvin Taylors. Plant and cultivate multiple Finney Jonas. Benefit from them. The guy basically walked into our country with an arrest warrant on his head. Walked through the airport with an allegation of having protection by the national security. And that can be validated by specific places where he was found. Sat on radio, boastfully, spoke and said nobody can do anything to him. Walked into the Supreme Court and got cleared by the nation's laws. It is extremely difficult for anybody around this
to
convince me that Abronye has done something that warrants what he is doing if our laws have cleared the earlier plans. Please let me flow. You see, there's something going on in Nepal right now. And if this government doesn't take care, and they think that in 2025, for fear of tasting their own medicine, they can put impediments in our ways, they are joking. Indeed, you can actually jail me. I won't lie to you about that. You can pick me up this morning and send me to jail. But do you know what will happen? There will be millions more of miracles coming up the very day you lock me up. So I'll never sit here and say, I will speak, I'll say whatever I want to say, there's nothing you can do to me. There are laws. Which laws are we going to formulate? Every single law that is against harmful speech, hate speech, whatever, violent attacks, they're already there in our statutes.
What's the comparison with Nepal?
I'm coming.
Because Nepal, the youth there are not doing party business. They have decided to come together. They have decided to come together as a united group to say we fight corruption. They have toppled the prime minister. They have toppled the president. Everybody is going
Wait. The youth are on the streets because when they started raising the issues of corruption, the government wanted to shut them up by shutting down social media. Please, that is the point I'm making. That's the point I'm making. That's the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that you cannot plant multiple Kevin Taylors. Give them roses in our country.
I agree with you on that.
And then when it is time for you to taste, why? Abronya is your opponent's version of Kevin Taylor. You don't want it? Then go back and fix the Kevin Taylor plant you planted. I am a Methodist. I am a Presby-trained person. He's my president. I was trained in the Kwafu Hall. I will never use hate speech. You will never hear me insulting anybody. I do not have a single record. As aggressive, forceful as I make my point, you can never have a single record of me, even attacking anybody's persona. I don't ever do that. But I will not take preaching the moral lessons from people who live in the brothel. The president is the last person that we would accept formulating such laws. You know what he's doing? He's afraid of his own shadows. When you call a clan, a tribe, Sakawa Mafia, is that hate speech? The president went on his social media handle and called the Achim people of this country Achim Sakawa Mafia.
No, he didn't call it. I don't think.
No. Please. No. Let me tell you something, Mr. President. Mr. President, listen to me. Dennis Miracle Sabwani. I have never sat on any radio station. I make a point.
But
the tweet is here. Please.
No, you know what you're saying, not true.
It is true.
It's not true. A group of people were the target of the Sakawa Mafia.
Not the whole tribe.
And people know them. It's not about their
I'm sorry, seniors. I am the last person you do this to. The man wrote, listen to me, he wrote, and the description was Achem Sakawa Mafia. Please, whether you are referring to, like I am here.
We know, we are not disputing that.
That's what I'm talking about.
Correct?
No. But what was the description? What was the description? So what are you talking about?
I'm saying that the Achim Sakawa Mafia is not about the entire Achim people. You and I, all of us, always use this term Achim Mafia. We do it quietly. So let's not say we don't know what the Achim Mafia represents. It's a group of people, a particular group of people.
And there were photographs of those people, images of those people that were put up. Let's have him make it.
Can I please insist on the point I'm making?
Go ahead.
Without being gaslighted. Why are you making it quickly? Listen, the president knew the name of Nana Bediye Asante.
Okay, so now you know names.
He knew the name of Nana Dodanko Ekufuado. He knew the name of Gabi Ochredako. If you want to describe any group of persons and you call their clan and their tribe names, I'm asking a simple question. Is Achim Sakawa Mafia a hate speech or not? You can say it's not.
It's not.
Perfect. Okay, so if it is not, then I can list several things that so many people have written on social media that are not hate speech. Let me also quickly come and say something. I heard the president in his engagement say that, you know, if you sit on radio and say that I wish so and so person was in a helicopter, I wish so and so is in a helicopter,
the helicopter that crashed. Yeah.
If you sit on radio and TV, and as a former president, you say that Nana Dodanko Ekufuado is older than me, he is likely to die before I die. Is it the same? I beg you. Is the wish of? Is me wishing?
No. Stop interfering with him. Let him finish.
I am asking you.
You shouldn't be asking rhetoric questions.
You know, Dennis he has his timer. He says it. So he will tell me that I have not given him enough time.
I am saying that. You see, I know what I'm saying. The president, he opened his mouth and said that the sitting president is likely to die before him. I am saying that point, is it a problematic point? If it is not, perfect. Then anybody sitting on TV,
then he's don't be asking them questions.
Then anybody sitting on TV, I'm asking you, anybody sitting on TV wishing that another person should have been in a helicopter could not be faulted for anything. It is not up to you to determine, I beg you. It's not up to you. Why? Don't we have 2-year-olds dying?
There's nothing illegal about a person to express his wish.
Exactly.
There's nothing illegal. Yes. It's just improper. It's unethical.
But it's also improper.
Yes. I mean,
so it's equally improper for a former president to say that a certain president is likely to die before
My father is likely to die before me. I mean, it doesn't mean I hate him. It's a statistical fact. And I'm likely to die before I'm likely to die before my children.
Mr. President, you don't answer any of my questions.
Okay.
Don't look at them and ask the questions.
So I'm looking at you. The point I'm making is that the president himself is complicit.
and I can give you 15 of it. I have it here. 15.
So what's your point?
15.
What's your point now?
Hate speeches. 15 of divisive speeches.
Very possible.
15 of several speeches that fall in the same category he wants to formulate laws about. There are laws already. If I insult or say something unpalatable against you, whether you are the IGP, you are the Attorney General, you are the President, there are laws that gives you room to seek redress. Don't attempt to sneak in laws that will gag us.
No, don't sneak in.
I beg you.
We have to be careful.
Attempt to sneak laws that will... You are stressing me up. I beg you.
I beg you, that you sneaking, it looks like we are...
Don't sneak in laws. Why? Don't sneak in laws. Don't sneak in laws
I know what you're saying.
that are attempting to gag us under the guise of, I want to prevent hate speech, I want to do so and so. Why? If Abronye says that he thinks the IGP is part of an NDC strategic team, it could be possible. It could be a lie. Let the IGP take him on in his personal capacity. Why we know in this country, when the same president and his government, his party people, said emphatically that our bench in the Supreme Court is loaded by MPP judges. And that when they give judgment, they taint it as MPP judgment. They call them names unanimous FC. Are we not in this country when they call the Chief Justice, Madame Gertrude Tokonu, the mother or whatever of MPP?
The women's organizer.
So you see, my point here is, you benefited from all of this. Nobody died. The country didn't burn.
Yeah.
Don't attempt to, for the fear of the same medicine being applied to you, make laws. It will not work. Like I told you earlier, Council, you could arrest me, honestly speaking. You could. In fact, I don't have to say anything for you to go after me.
Okay.
But tomorrow morning, just as it's happening in Nepal, there will be several other people rising up to defend this right. You said we are going to come to the specific...
We don't want Nepal in Ghana.
Right. No, then the government should act right.
We want demonstration when it has to happen. We don't want anybody banning Parliament or banning our Supreme Court or anything. Right. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. Hold on. We'll be right back.
Yeah, Bongo. Hey, again.
Hello, thank you for calling MTN.
Yeah, this is Jerry, Jolly J for short.
Hi Jerry, how may I help?
These days I'm not happy with you guys at all. What you guys do is not cool, crowd.
How do you mean, sir?
You've been giving Bongo gifts all the time.
Who is Bongo?
Oh, Bongo, my friend. He purchased in my room. You don't know Bongo.
Oh.
You've been giving free gifts, but I don't. That don't be gift is him.
That's MTN rewards, sir. You can also get freebies because on MTN, doing always gets rewarded. Doing more of the things you love. Talk, text, browse, and more, and you get to redeem free call time or data by simply dialing *550#.
Oh, sir.
Yes, and on Fridays, you can even get extra special rewards like food vouchers, shopping discounts, and much more.
Didn't tell me anything, no. He will move out. Doing gets rewarded, eh? Hey, but your voice is really nice, so... would you like to know how I got the name Jolly J?
That won't be necessary, Mr. Jolly. Calling customer care service doesn't give you points.
I'm gonna call my mom. I'll call my grandmom. I'll call my ex. That girl can talk, Papa. Hello, Mama. So what's the topic for today?
MTN.
For decades, we have helped businesses connect with their trade partners all over the globe. From Ghana to Burkina Faso, Côte d'Ivoire, Benin, Togo, Senegal, China, Morocco, France, Netherlands, and many other countries. We have made it possible to bring Ghana to the world. We have brought small and medium businesses closer to their customers across the regions in Ghana with our SME support facilities. We have brought relief and smiles to the faces of families with our employee personal loans. With our cutting-edge technology and digital support, we take the burden of complex thinking off you, making life simple. That is who we are, as close as a partner. Bank of Africa. We are indeed the African bank with the global reach.
Every dream starts with a prayer, and every prayer ends with a promise. At Blue Financial Services, it is our passion to make you smile, to show you that your smallest deposits can lead to major financial wealth. From the early days, taking that first big step, to the days of joyous maturity, we will be with you, so that when it is time to dream again and you're ready to invest your hopes and dreams into the future, we will still be here with you. So dream again and trust in Blue Financial Services. Visit our branch today for a better future tomorrow and trust in Blue Financial Services.
Announcing Ghana's first unlimited photocopier leasing. Yes, from just 983 Ghana cedis, you can lease a multifunctional photocopier and print unlimited. Yes, unlimited and free paper every month. Guess what? That's not all. Toners, repairs, and maintenance all are free. And oh, I'm not kidding at all. And we cover the whole country. Yes, the whole country. What are you waiting for? Just visit us at www.valixlease.com or call 0244-644048. Remember, terms and conditions apply. Valix Lease, affordable document management solutions.
Hi, now let me share my wildlife experience with you at Safari Valley Eco Park.
Welcome to Safari Valley Eco Park.
Our electric shuttle pulled up, and in no time, our tour began. We were surrounded by wildlife from the moment we entered the eco park. We were greeted by experienced tour guides who took us through orientation and how to better enjoy the experience. Watch these animals roam freely in their natural habitat, undisturbed by our presence. We saw zebras, sable antelope, brown cranes, mara, silky chicken, nyalas, Shetland ponies, and so many animals I just couldn't keep up. Our tour guides taught us so much about the wildlife, their behavior, and how to interact with them. I even fed them. We also went fishing on a man-made canal. Then we took a break to have lunch in this serene environment. All this amazing experience for this price for adults? This price for teenagers. It's a bargain. As the sun began to set, it was time to go back home, but not before dinner by the campfire. It has been a thrill of a lifetime, and I can't wait till my next visit.
Safari Valley Eco Park, bringing you closer to nature.
Ghana, the wait is over. The grand finale of the Energy Commission Senior High School's Renewable Energy Challenge is here. Watch as 6 outstanding schools, Presbyterian Boys SHS Presekli Gone, Adidome Senior High School, Ahantaman Girls Senior High School, Ola Girls Secondary School Kenyase, Damongo Senior High School, and Dabopa Technical Institute compete for the ultimate title of Ghana's Clean Energy Champion. Join us on Tuesday, 7th October 2025 at the Accra International Conference Center at 10 a.m. Who will rise to the top? Catch the thrilling finals live on JoyNews at 10 a.m. prompt. The Senior High School Renewable Energy Challenge is powered by the Energy Commission and the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition in partnership with the Ghana Education Service and the Ghana TVET Service, and with support from GIZ, Ashes University, Volta River Authority, Greenfield Ambassadors, Star Oil, and the PURC. Media partner JoyNews.
Good business means seeing the possibilities and maximizing opportunities. Making sure you have a responsive support system backs your business goals. A partner that gives you a stable platform with reliable connectivity and seamless solutions, and better understands the tools required to take you to the next level. With so many moving parts in running a business, we do our best to provide you with some stability. The only kind of stability you can find with MTN Business Broadband, the fastest and most reliable internet provider in Ghana, making sure you stay ahead and stay connected, because we understand what makes your business tick.
Sign up today on broadband.mtn.com.gh or call or WhatsApp 0244 308 111.
MTN.
magnetic perfumes.
Best Brain Publication is an educational publishing firm with an in-depth knowledge in the new standard-based curriculum. We deliver quality content by investing in authorial skills and editorial refinement. Our team of experts have meticulously developed books in all subject areas.
Yes, I did it! Dudu, how did you do it? I used the best brain book to connect the computer. Oh, that's my ball!
All our books rest on 6 broad core skills: creativity and imagination, student leadership, citizenship, critical thinking and problem solving, digital literacy, collaboration and communication. For preschool, we have literacy, numeracy, phonics and writing. For kindergarten, we have literacy, numeracy, our world and our people, creative arts, phonics, writing and picture reading. For basic 1 to 6, we have mathematics, science, English, our world and our people, computing, history, religious and moral education, creative arts, Asante Chi and Equiapim Chi. For basic 7, 8 and 9, we have mathematics, science, religious and moral education, social studies, creative arts, career technology and computing. And we also have questions and answers for all subjects. We have provided links and QR codes under the various topics in our books to link to the world and find out what other people are also learning. Contact us on 0507 200 200. Best Brain Publication. Tomorrow's education today.
So, Charlie, the deal there, I almost get her.
Syntax pipe, as tough as it can get.
You're so sorry with your back, sorry. Oh, what are you was a thing? What the kind of way? Well, we can catch it. Hey! Now, I'm pipe.
Between the pie and carbon.
Hey, madam, pipe menu.
A Syntax pipe. Me tono, catch him send one day pa. Say a fee, say a foam. The other pipe we be a yen gum.
Syntax pipe.
Why a leaky?
Come, madam. From today, Syntax pipe in my pipe. No 2 ways.
We need a pipe ben abe use.
SINTEX pipe.
Syntax pipe.
In the carry water. No hala.
Welcome to the McLean Air Series. I am Joe McLean, your guide to the smoky, dusty, cloudy, choky side of life. Today we are visiting some places that pour with pollution. Let me mask up. Vehicle fumes have taken over the air, and soon this place will find it hard to breathe. According to the World Health Organization, as many as 28,000 people die every year in Ghana from air pollution. You live here, you breathe dirtier air than the whole of Accra. Look, let me show you. What an irony. No burning here. No one is truly safe. Even the posh areas are not spared from the smoke. Look, we can't ignore this. Do something. Call 057-972-4072 or send WhatsApp. You can also speak to your assembly so we all can breathe freely.
This message was brought to you by Infinity 970 with support from Breathe Cities.
Miss
VIP
magnetic perfumes.
Welcome back. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis platform. And here on Newsfile, we put Ghana first. It's brought to you by Bank of Africa's strongest group and closest partner, MTN everywhere you go. Ashesi University, educating ethical and entrepreneurial leaders for Africa. Robert & Sons Optical Services, your comprehensive eye care service provider for 33 plus years. My Way Insurance, dial star 165 hash on MTN to join My Way today. Syntax Tanks is strong, it's tough. Activa International, our clients are Pashing International Facilities Management Association. They are proud to be associated with your most authoritative news analysis platform, Newsfile. Safari Valley Eco Park, bringing you closer to nature. Now, we need to move on to the president's comment about Galamsey and gold, small-scale mining that has unnerved Senyor Jose and his group very badly. But I'm holding you to just a minute each on the issue about this judge, Samuel Akwa, Bright Akwa, right? Who has been refusing to grant Abronye bail. Senyor.
Samson, for me, it's not about whether he granted bail or not. I already don't think that this case merited this energy resources from the state. It could have been done simpler with a clear publication and instruction and warning. But for a judge to write a judgment and suggest in there or state categorically that we are not all equal before the law, that is disturbing.
It says in practice.
In practice. That is the effect of it. The law and the courts is where we can practice that which we are entitled to. That is it. The courts bring finality to what we can access and not access. So if we can go to the court and the courts think that we are all not equal before the law, how do I ever get this constitutional right of mine ever enforced? Where's my hope? We have opened the door to political and elitism abuse. So if you do not have power, you don't count. But this is not the country we sought to build. That the Constitution clearly states from its start. It is we, the people. For God's sake, that judge and the judicial system must take a proper review of his conduct. I don't know the man. I have no personal problem with anybody. You may have legal reasons why you don't think Abronye should have bail. You understand? For example, the argument about flight risk, he has created a legitimacy for it himself. But to pass such comments which are referable, this is judgment, though. They cannot be the path of our democracy. It can't be the path of our constitutionalism, and it must be condemned by every sound, legal, democratic mind, constitutional mind, legal mind. And I think the Chief Justice should take a particular interest in this matter and review this action. If there's a misconduct on his part, action should be taken. If there's a technical inappropriateness in it, it must be revised. We can't have this sitting anywhere in our judgment, because judgments equally become part of our law. Please.
These rulings at the lower court, they don't become part of our law.
So it's from the High Court.
They don't become part of our law.
So when does it become part of our law?
Well, this is a lower court, so it's not referable for any use in any court.
But we can't have some. And you should remember, this is somebody who is supposed to go to the High Court. True or false?
We understand that. Am I right? We understand that he applied for promotion because he's qualified to go to the next stage, which is the High Court.
Yes.
And that he has gone through the processes, has been vetted, and is part of a short list of about 12 who will soon
go to the High Court,
receive their promotion
to the Superior Court. Can you imagine what is going to happen there if there's orientation of the person going there?
You disagree with his orientation? Yes.
Do you agree?
You see, when I heard initial comments about what the judge did in court, I was taken aback. I thought the judge did not rely on any previous decision or had just used his own personal idiosyncrasies. So you know that Carl Lewin has said it, the idiosyncrasies of the judge and not any pretensions of the law. It's actually the law. So when I heard that, I said, but why would the judge, and one writer, Kwesi Boche Jr., and said that the judge did not rely on any authority. So when I read the judgment, the judge relied on his own authority. It can be unethical, but he relied on authority and justified the reliance. He said for consistency. And you know...
Is that how to rely on authority?
Well, that's he relied on it.
He didn't refer to any ratio within the...
He said consistency. He said for consistency.
That in 2024 and in 2020, whatever, he has given...
And then Nana he remanded somebody on, for a similar offense. That's what he said. And that did not raise any hue and cry.
Is that how to rely on authority?
But that's what he said. Okay, so for me, I've been wondering, why didn't Abronya's lawyers go to court ready to repeat the application in the High Court? Because we know that the criminal jurisdiction of the Circuit Court is subject to appeal to the High Court. Why didn't they do that? And if you think that this case is a political case, you should have been prepared.
From what you have read,
yes.
Should he be denied bail?
Well,
from what you have read around the case, should he be denied? I want to move on.
So, and I read the judgment, and he relied on Section 96C and A of the Criminal and Other Offences Act. So that also provides a basis for the exercise of his discretion. Whether his discretion is properly exercised or not.
To cool, as he says, cool tempers. The previous one, that's what he did, to cool tempers. Yes, Miracles.
Well, I mean, Council, my IP is 192.38.1.4.5. Because what I'm going to say, I'm not sure how it will be taken.
You don't need to tell it. We know your phone number.
It's okay. My IP is there. So, Council, I think that the IGP should simply stop what he's doing. As we speak, there's a video of the Buakwa North NDC constituency executive on video saying verbatim that he's going to kill the national organizer of the MPP, Nanabi, the minority leader, Afenyo Marken, and others. He's still walking freely. Don't waste our time with Abonye saying something to bruise.
Do you think
people.
he should walk free?
No.
Do you think he should walk free?
Who?
The person you just mentioned.
No, I'm just making a point.
No, I'm asking you, do you think that person should walk free?
If you threaten somebody, there are laws.
Okay.
If you threaten somebody, there are laws, specific laws, that say that if somebody's lives are threatened, they've already petitioned the IGP. He hasn't acted on it. The IGP has a petition, has a complaint from the people who were threatened.
I thought the petition about Azoka and who has also
that
been
one is also
arrested
there.
and granted bail.
Did you ever see Azoka's arrest anywhere?
That's what we are told.
It's okay. Let's stick to this one. So that gentleman is working freely. Yes. The IGP went to Boko. His car was shot at in Boko. He hasn't been able to arrest the people who shot his car. His car, the IGP's car, was shot at in Boko. You know what he told them? I beg you, stop fighting. I promise you police recruitment. He should get serious.
But you know that's a different terrain.
No, please. I beg you. I am only saying that there are more serious, important, critical things to do.
Okay.
Because if you're going to,
it's a minute. We all agreed. The time is gone.
But he used 2 minutes.
I used 2 minutes.
I timed it.
Yes, Bright. Do you think fairly that from the facts you have gleaned, Abronya should not be granted bail?
From the facts I've gleaned, I think he should have been granted bail because I don't think he's in the position to interfere with the kind of investigations they are talking about. And the only really rational basis for denying bail, in my view, if you want to sum up the current practice, would be that you can interfere with investigations. Do you disagree?
That you are also
or witnesses or
They actually quoted this interference with investigations.
Yeah, but I'm saying that given the nature of the investigation you're talking about with NIB involved and the rest of it, I don't see I can interfere with it. Yeah. I mean, I just don't see the national.
All right, thank you.
It's very important for your audience. As for the judge, we've all read the thing. Everybody in the country is talking about it. I am sure in the next few weeks he should get his promotion. Because what he wrote, if it's not for promotion, I don't think any judge will write.
I think the decisional...
Oh, I beg you. Let's be factual. That before this case, as we understand, there was a window for people to get promotion. As we understand, please, let's not do this to every situation.
You are sharing information I don't know.
And he was one of the applicants, about 12, who have been shortlisted to get
just swallowing the red herring.
Okay,
throw in the red herring.
Don't do that.
So he's actually awaiting for something.
I'm telling you,
because otherwise, how do you quote a dictator? Idi Amin
in a democratic ruling.
He said Mugabe.
Oh, if the man says something,
Is Mugabe an example? A good example?
No, oh, please.
Okay, I'm sorry.
This man is bringing the red you are here.
Your coalition. Why are you not happy with these comments by the president? Let's hear the president.
I never deluded myself that the fight against illegal gold mining or Galamsey was going to be an event. I mean, definitely, there's no magic wand. The decay has eaten so much over the last 8 years that it's going to take a lot of work to be able to overcome it. And I didn't expect that in 18 months we would declare victory in the fight. As the livelihoods of about 4 million Ghanaians is on small-scale mining. And so it's going to be a process. It's not going to be an event. But we will not give up. We have a determination to get on top of it. The Gold Board was introduced as part of reforms. And if the Gold Board was not introduced, I mean, those who were taking the profits from the small-scale mining sector were the foreign traders who were taking that money away. In 6 months, we have exported over $6 billion. About $4 billion of that money was going to go into the private or foreign traders. And so the first thing is you shut the stable door so that the horse doesn't escape, which is what we've done. So if it's from illegal sources, it's from legal sources. At least it's our land that is being destroyed. So let us get the benefit of it instead of foreign traders. So that's the first thing. But if you go and read the Gold Board law, it has a requirement for tracking and tracing. I've been reluctant to implement a state of emergency in the Galamsey fight because we've not exhausted the powers we even have without a state of emergency. We have the opportunity to arrest anybody, to confiscate any such thing. There are laws for forest protection and all that give us enough powers to be able to act. Implementing a state of emergency might sound nice, but it should be the last extreme, the last resort. So for now, let's exercise all the powers we have.
Yes, so Senor, despite the level of pollution our water bodies are going through, and even ECG now cannot, that's the ECG, Ghana Water Company cannot treat our water for us. We haven't gotten to a state where we should declare a state of emergency. You people say, lie, the president won't allow this. What are you going to do?
I've been heartbroken. I realize my energy is low. I'm in shock. Samson, His Excellency the President signed our pact, and he made representations in that pact that showed that he was recognizing and acknowledging, was concerned about the problems and convinced about the steps that we had agreed he would take.
He signed the pact.
He did. I can read them here. John Mahama.
This is before the elections.
Before the elections, yeah. Recognizing the deleterious and devastating impact of illegal and irresponsible mining on the forest, land, and water resources of Ghana. Acknowledging the dangers posed to the food chain and health of Ghanaians by the inevitable consumption of poisoned water and food laced with heavy metals and concentrated inedible minerals. Concerned with that until and unless bold and decisive legislative and specific policy interventions are put in place to stem the tide, the situation will continue to deteriorate to the point of irreversibility. Convinced that it is both an obligation of the High Office of the President of the Republic of Ghana and also a logical patriotic duty of every public servant to work towards the protection of the resources of Ghana and the best of interests of the citizens under the trusteeship duty incumbent on the said office. I hereby undertake per pledge, and 2, act as follows. 1, immediately to denounce and do hereby immediately denounce the practice of Galamsey for its treacherous impact on the natural environment and the health, safety, and well-being of the people of Ghana for those of posterity. We accordingly call on the perpetrators of the heinous environmental crime of Galamsey to be stopped by the perpetrators, their agents, assigns, and any workmen. We call on the law enforcement agents to immediately and ruthlessly apply the law against the perpetrators of this crime by clamping down on the practice and bringing culprits to book, ultimately through the criminal justice system, irrespective of their political or social standing. 4, that we will design and implement policies to immediately stop Galamsey and to uproot Galamsey from Ghana in the medium to long term, should any of us win the next presidential elections and any presidential election thereafter. And this is the last one. To call on all supporters, party officials, communicators, and other persons speaking for and on behalf of our parties to desist from making comments supportive of the menace or otherwise encouraging anyone involved in Galamsey to continue with this practice. How ruthlessly have we dealt with Galamsey? You see, this country and our policy speak from our politicians has been so much on the side of inputs. We have done water gas. We have arrested this. We've arrested that. I clap for you. You've done well. We have supported that. As a matter of fact, I actually believe that the foremost person who's really been in support and fighting this has been Emmanuel Amabwa. He seems sometimes for us like the only guy standing. What you should measure your policy actions by is the output. We got into this fight last year, sometime in August, when we had the publication of the 4,500 NTUs. Right, do you remember? I was here and I called Akufo-Addo the worst president ever, because you don't pretend this to this point. And you still see it and still having constraint in taking ruthless action against this matter because politics holds your hand. Today, what do we have? After all that the president says they've done, 32,000. Have we gone or have we come? I am really sad. I'm heartbroken. There are things and steps that have been taken, but that ruthlessness that's required, devoid of politics or social standing, has been difficult for this government. Their own party people are involved. The former guards, political guards, have handed over to the new guards. And the trade is continuing. And the irreversibility that the president signed on in this pact that we signed is where we are now. And he's struggling to act. We can't continue this way, Mr.
Yes,
President.
we haven't gotten there. That
Mr. President,
state of emergency should be last resort.
Look, the value of that state of emergency was not to run a whole country state of emergency. There are particular places we have to protect. Our forest reserves and our water bodies. If you declare that state of emergency, you're supposed to draft your own rules and give you, far-reaching power to take strong action, ruthless action to curb this. We had 9 reserves that they said people are taking over. Talk to Erastus. The people are going back. The red that turned to green or yellow is going to orange. Where are we going? So you look at this police thing that he did. You withdraw the whole people. That's why IGP focus on Galamsey, don't focus on Abronia. They ask the police people to come. His explanation respectfully does not suffice. Suggesting that what? The police people could not tell who from what. That is neither here nor there. If it's a communication problem, the NIMOS that was put in place, we are part of the NIMOS. We are represented at NIMOS. They can give that guidance. It is information, it's communication. There are rules. If you are supposed to mine at a place, you should have the permits for it.
Okay.
If you want to have a database for the police should have it. And let's get it clear.
So small-scale
mining is not allowed in forest reserves.
All right. So the Ghana
what is it that the police people could not have done?
So the Ghana coalition is insisting on a state of emergency.
We need a state of emergency. We need the police people back.
All right.
But more importantly, I think this is something we must ask for.
All right.
The government must publicly publish on a monthly basis for every water processing plant, the NTU state, the level of turbidity.
Okay.
So we know the quality of water we are drinking.
Now, Bright, there was a promise to repeal LI 2462.
He's doing it.
And when they came, they said, we won't repeal it. This is what we want to. They did an amendment. The advocacy continued. Now they are going to repeal it. So maybe if their advocacy continues, insistent that there must be a state of emergency to come. Is that what you think? So this economics problem I was explaining between, where we make laws before we understand the policy, we put the cart before the horse, is very evident here. when we made the laws around mining in forest reserves, had we determined which of our forest reserves we wanted to degazette, because at a certain point we felt that those particular forest reserves were surfeit or surplus to requirements, we have not yet made those proper policy choices, which is why eventually, even though we had the law, we're still allowing people based on discretion to go into the reserves and mine. So we have to start off being clear about policy. What is the extent of forest reserves that in our current situation we believe is a total requirement? How much of it do we feel that we are willing to sacrifice for economic development? These are matters of policy. Secondly, I understand the passion that our friends on the activist side in this matter bring to bear on this issue. But I think they also have to clarify in great detail how the state of emergency specifically will function. Because I've heard it said a lot of times. Today is the first time that I'm hearing Senor start to kind of lay out why the state of emergency will make a difference. Because my view was that the existing interventions that are of a security nature are themselves not being maximized. So if we give soldiers more power and more license, are we saying that we're going to suspend some rights? What would the emergency, what do you call declaration of state of emergency, how specifically will it function? Which rights do you want to suspend? Which rights are in the way, etc.? Those things I think are very important. The next level is that I don't think the president is well informed when he suggests that we've kicked out all foreigners out of the gold value chain.
It's not
because the issue of the matter is that the foreigners were involved in finance. And today we haven't changed the financial arrangements. So even if you ensure that all the aggregators and the rest are Ghanaians, where are they getting the money from? They're not getting it from our banks. A lot of that money is still coming from foreigners. Thirdly, the government itself is heavily dependent on foreigners to market the gold. The Bank of Ghana has contracts that I know with international players who are not Ghanaian. The Gold Board is heavily involved in trying to solicit for international partnerships in order to market. So there are always going to be foreigners involved. So this notion that somehow the new arrangements eliminate foreigners, I don't think is correct. The bigger issue around Galamsey, to be honest with you, and that's why I myself have been very reticent and have very unconventional views about Galamsey, is that to do profitability and environmental conservation at the same time is extremely difficult. There are only 38 or so large-scale mining companies in the country. Of that, about 12 of them are active large-scale gold mines. Those 12, they employ less than 40,000 people. Yet, the average mine size is over 70 square kilometers. If you use the density we have on our small-scale mines and apply that density to large-scale mines, you need to put 105,000 workers in each large-scale mine. That's not viable. The average large-scale mine in this country in gold has fewer than 3,000 people. So if there's a huge gap between the large-scale mining sector and the small-scale mining sector in terms of productivity, the average large-scale mining worker makes about $170,000 for the company on average. The average cost small-scale miner cannot even make $4,000.
Okay.
So that's a massive gap. You need to fill it somehow.
All right.
And that will require that we change the entire structure of the gold mine industry. And that's a policy matter, which we haven't even started to go into.
Right.
There's an optimal mine size issue, which if we don't fix, will never make a difference.
Dennis.
Council, so I mean, and I'll say this, no interruption because I have my basis. The President, Dr. Mahama'S, His Excellency, is the biggest enabler of Galamsey in this country. And it predates now. First of all, he lied when he said that in the last 8 years, this has escalated, it's a complete false. I don't know how much time I have, but I'll utilize as much as I can. Before 2011, Galamsey was just who pickaxe on land. They gathered small. Then in late 2011, 2012, that was when Galamsey went into our water bodies. That was the time Mr. Potterfi, who was then NADMO Director General, and Professor Mills went to somewhere in Achem and saw large tract of Galamsey happening in some cocoa farms. Then in 2013, under His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, Galamsey in our forest reserves and water bodies actually became endemic. That is what led him to set up a task force, which was led by Honorable Yunus Afuseni. So it is completely a lie. If he creates an impression and say, in the last 8 years, and that is one force who they've been peddling. They create an impression in the minds of the populace as if Galamsey, as we are seeing it today, is like an Akufo-Addo thing. Indeed, it is as a result of how bad Galamsey was. That is how come in the Akufo-Addo's first 3 months, he actually declared a war on Galamsey.
He did, and he worked well on that.
So that principle, that lie,
the first 2 years,
that lie must actually be put to leave. Now, in 2016, this is what happened. 3 years after the task force led by Honorable Fusedi had been set up, the minister admitted that the war against Galamsey cannot be won. This is on Ghana Web. In fact, read myjoyonline.com, 15 September 2016. The minister gives up on Galamsey fight. It's on My Joy Online. Now, the Galamsey fight, he said, has been allowed to fester so much so that the water bodies in this country had turned into Milo. This is the minister. This was the task force.
So the state of emergency must be now.
No, please. If my time is not up, you let me make my point.
You are done.
Okay. So I mean, for lack of enough time, it is the Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo who actually brought in the media into the fight against Galamsey. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is the one who brought CSOs into the fight against Galamsey.
Welcome that we brought our, we pushed ourselves.
Now fast forward council.
And he welcomed
when Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo started arresting people, burning champagnes, taking them to court, do you know what the president now said? He said that stop going after illegal miners with soldiers. This is on your portal. It is on video. Now, in 2020, when Nana Addo was now going into a second-term elections and we are arresting people, the same president now went into the pit, sent his people into the pit to tell them that if you vote for Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, he's going to stop you from doing Galamsey. Vote for us. Today, Tony Obey, who is leading Petroleum Hub, is going to be made Minerals Commission boss, and we are going to allow you to mine. The president said that he was going to reverse the policies Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo had put in place and release all those who have been arrested. Fast forward.
He was going for the kingpins.
Please, I beg you, fast forward.
Well, your time is
fast forward. The same man is back in government. And now listen to what he's saying. He's saying that, but the thing, if the man will go to private pockets and will get it, is the same thing. The man, please.
Okay, that carry on.
Thank you.
The same man.
We have a minute left. We have a minute left. First of all, we have a minute left. And let me tell you this. Honorable News of Seni. So why the reluctance? When shall we get to that stage? And when I was sitting there in that room, and that question was asked, and you referred to 8 years. There's a lady who was sitting by me. The lady will tell you. I looked at the lady and said, did the president said 8 years ago?
That's absolutely, Mr. President was wrong.
Why? What's wrong with you?
What Miracles has done is what we call revisionism. It's rewritten what we know about Galamsey to suit his own narrative.
All of them are facts.
Please.
All of them, they are all there.
You said I shouldn't talk, so I just kept quiet. Now, we went into office with a promise to fight Galamsey in 2012. It was contained in our manifesto. That was why the president established the anti-Galamsey task force.
That's exactly what I said.
Now, you went into office in 2017. The whole manifesto of the MPP in 2017 had no entry for fighting Galamsey.
That's true.
So how could you say that you were thinking of fighting Galamsey more than John Dramani Mahama?
They bought into the advocacy and did it well. That's what I'm saying.
Please.
What are you talking about?
Please. You are talking to the minister. I was there.
But the facts are there. You can skew the fact. You're a politician.
You said he should. You do better.
It's okay. Allow him to. It's okay.
Now, what I'm saying. So again, Nana Akufo-Addo fought the Galamsey on 2 different occasions.
Yes.
The first time he admitted that he had failed, and went to the conference center and did another conference when he appointed Samuel Abu-Jinapor as the minister.
We need a state of emergency.
No, the president says, look, and I agree with him. You know, on this platform, I said you should do it. But I subsequently engaged them. He said, and that's exactly the question you asked. He said, what is state of emergency to do? We want to stop Galamsey. So there are steps that we must take and make sure that we monitor those steps and evaluate.
We are taking these steps over the years.
No, it's different. He says that, look, we are putting water guards.
They are there. They are there now.
This is my guest have been Bright Simmons, Honorary Vice President Imani Africa. Earlier we were joined by Bobby Banson. Inus Afuseni is former MP, Tamale Central. Dennis Miracle Sabwaji is Director of Communications, the Baumia campaign.
Senor Jose is convener, One Ghana Movement, and trustee of the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey. I'm Samson Lade Ayanini. Have a good afternoon.
Bank of Africa, as strong as a group, as close as a partner. Where Duraplast goes, water flows.
PS Industries has introduced a new roofing system known as ColorLink Plus.
So, Charlie, the deal there, I almost get her.
Syntax pipe, as tough as it can get.
You're so sorry. Would you back sorry? Oh, what are you? You are something. What the cat never won. We can catch him. Hey! Now, I'm buying.
Between a pie and carbon.
Hey, madam, buy menu.
A Syntax pipe. Metono, Omukacham send a word pa. Say a fee, say a foam. The other pipe we be a yen gum.
Syntax pipe.
Why only key?
Hi, madam. From today, Syntax pipe in my pipe. No 2 ways.
When you know, pipe ben abe use.
SINTEX pipe.
Syntax pipe.
In a water. No hala.
Hi, now let me share my wildlife experience with you at Safari Valley Eco Park.
Welcome to Safari Valley Eco Park.
Our electric shuttle pulled up, and in no time, our tour began. We were surrounded by wildlife from the moment we entered the eco park. We were greeted by experienced tour guides who took us through orientation and how to better enjoy the experience. Watch these animals roam freely in their natural habitat undisturbed by our presence. We saw zebras, sable antelope, brown crane, mara, silky chicken, nyalas, Shetland ponies, and so many animals I just couldn't keep up. Our tour guides taught us so much about the wildlife, their behavior, and how to interact with them. I even fed them. We also went fishing on a man-made canal. Then we took a break to have lunch in this serene environment. All this amazing experience for this price for adults? This price for teenagers. It's a bargain. As the sun began to set, it was time to go back home, but not before dinner by the campfire. It has been a thrill of a lifetime, and I can't wait till my next visit.
Safari Valley Eco Park, bringing you closer to nature.
Let's talk hemorrhoids. Hemorrhoids are normal structures located in the anus of all mammals.
But it is only man who suffers hemorrhoidal disease because of the erect posture we have assumed and the squatting that we do to empty our bowel. Hemorrhoids consist of a special type of blood vessels which fill with blood when we are moving our bowel and help to cushion the anus against the force of transmitting the stool. Afterwards, they empty their blood, collapse, help seal the anus to maintain continence. Over time, these vessels lose the elasticity of their walls, become dilated, permanently filled with blood, leading to congestion of the hemorrhoids. The symptoms of hemorrhoids are bleeding and prolapse of the hemorrhoids when passing stool, itching and feeling of warmth in the anus and anal discharge. Laser, ligature, and longo are the modern, minimally invasive, most effective and painless methods of treating hemorrhoids today.
Winterba Hospital, first Ghana Colorectal Center, in to serve a peculiar health need.
Ghana, the wait is over. The grand finale of the Energy Commission Senior High School's Renewable Energy Challenge is here. Watch as 6 outstanding schools, Presbyterian Boys SHS Presekli Gone, Adidome Senior High School, Ahantaman Girls Senior High School, Ola Girls Secondary School Kenyase, Damongo Senior High School, and Dabopa Technical Institute compete for the ultimate title of Ghana's Clean Energy Champion. Join us on Tuesday, 7th October 2025 at the Accra International Conference Center at 10 a.m. Who will rise to the top? Catch the thrilling finals live on JoyNews at 10 a.m. prompt. The Senior High School Renewable Energy Challenge is powered by the Energy Commission and the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition in partnership with the Ghana Education Service and the Ghana TVET Service, and with support from GIZ, Ashesi University, Volta River Authority, Greenfield Ambassadors, Star Oil, and the PURC. Media partner, JoyNews.
Kwame and his uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, Mommy.
I'm
the second coming.
Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again? Now I understand the whole delay. Trotro from Kaswa dear. Why wouldn't he be late? Or be late? Of course. Hush. You go be the luckiest.